Are you hydrated? Hold on here. Don't worry. Are you thinking I'm talking to you again? I'm not talking to you. I'm live. Lords, I'm live. I'm not talking to you anymore. No, I'm not talking to you. I'm live. Lords. I'm not talking to you. Nope, I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you, Lords. I'm not talking to you. Don't worry, Ryan. I'm using the right key. So, you know, streamer issues, whatever. It's fine. I just don't even worry about it. Why do you even care, man? You're not streaming. Leave me alone, all right? I'm trying my best. And I still have a few more things to set up. I still have to call Sam. You know? So we're just going to look at the screen there. Who cares? It's whatever. I don't mind, you know? I also planned on putting on a nicer shirt before the stream, but this one's covered in opal hair. But you know what? I'm okay with that. I thought about it. I'm like, do I really need to be doing that? I don't need to be doing that. So I didn't do it. And right now, this is filler. Because I'm trying to open up the donation page so I can see like subscribers and give people shout outs. Hold on. Let's see here. I don't know. Whoa, did Streamlabs. Okay, never mind. I'm just dumb. It's been a while. I skipped last week, so it's, you know, it's nice to see you guys again. Okay, I think I'm on the final step of setting up whatever I'm doing. If you're wondering what the heck am I doing, it's ending right now, so don't even worry about it. Oh, man. Okay, I believe I have the stream up. It says I have 2 viewers. That's why I'm kind of like, what? There's no way that that's the truth. Okay. I think we're good. Oh, wait. I need to call Sam. I need to call Sam. Sam, where's Sam? Is it about to show all my Discord? It is. Hold on. What you just saw is not even important anyways. But it might give you an update, or sorry, a head start into when we're gonna be doing our streams. Anyway, let's see, where's Sam? Do I even have Sam? Sam procrastinates. Call. Maybe he'll pick up, maybe he won't. I don't know. Sam? Oh, Sam!
Hi.
Hi,
Hey.
Sam.
Nice to meet you, Evan.
Yeah, yeah, I guess this is the first time we've been in call. We have been, we've talked before, like, through text, but yeah, this really is the first time.
This is, and in fact, this is the first time I've talked to a quote-unquote major Sonic YouTube person.
I get? Yeah.
Let me get this out of the way, because I know we're in a hurry to start. Dude, a huge fan of your work. I'm so honored to talk to you, because I've watched your stuff since you were on the Mardiculous channel. And my first video I watched from you was your dub on the Sonic Generations video, and that was the first time I've watched your stuff. Like, I've watched you ever since I was a teenager, man. It's
Really?
so great to, yeah.
What?
Yes, dude. Your Sonic Generations dubstep was like.
Oh wait, the time eater one?
Yeah, and I used that on one of my first videos. Like, I used to use your stuff. Like, I loved your stuff.
Oh wow, I did. Oh, yeah. Okay, all right. Oh wow, I'm experiencing some slowdown. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm not even gonna try and hide it. I own this game, but this is definitely an emulator. I'm not even gonna try to pretend that it's not. I don't have a capture card. Sorry. Exposed. Hey. What am I supposed to do? I want to be able to stream this game. I think that's legal, right? Oh, I can turn Sam up. Sorry, I thought because it's good for me, it's good for you guys. I guess it's not. Oh, you know what? I know what's going on. Give me a second.
I hope the mic quality is good, because this is my backup mic. Because I'm not in my normal place of home right now. I am somewhere else, and I always carry a backup mic in case anything happens. And sure enough, Tails channel. I'm like, oh god.
Well, I mean, my mentality. I gotta explain it, because I'm sure people are wondering, like, what goes into like selecting who we feature on the channel. Well, it's really, I feel like Tails channel doesn't really feel like mine, and so I feel like it's my responsibility to share that the most that I possibly can with the fan base, the people that make it as great as it is. Which that may be an unpopular opinion to have lately, but I have it. Sorry, I've always had it. But it's not because I'm overlooking the things that do happen. I'm just making sure to keep in mind the great things that also always happening in the fandom.
Yeah. And you know, the Sonic fan base really is that special fan base that we really are connected. We really do all kind of like intertwine with each other and try to always stay connected, no matter what media it is, Twitter, Instagram, games, Discords. It's pretty incredible. I really don't see it that much in other fan bases. And it's cool that you're gonna do that even to a YouTube channel as big and as dominant as Till's channel, to share that with the community. So that's awesome of you.
I mean, I feel like that's the only right way to do it. I feel like, yeah, I feel like that's really the only way to go about it. If I did anything else, I feel like I'd be upset at me if I was a viewer. So I feel like I should share it with everybody. So that being said, if you've got some interesting, unique things you want to add to the world of Sonic tubing, go for it. And if you get a little bit of a following, like, we'll help you get started. You know, I think that's really important.
It is. Hey Sam, do you hate Sonic Forces? Not even gonna talk about that. No, actually, I don't.
Why not? Why not? Talk about it. Why
okay.
not?
Well, I don't hate Sonic Forces, and I've said that in my review. I never hated the game. You know, I kind of have the same opinion as the general audience. It just kind of, it was what it was. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. It just kind of, it was there. It could have been better. Yes. Little disappointed at the end, of course. You know, you always want the best for our little blue guy, but
it's like everything. I agree with everything you're saying, by the way. But so I feel like the missing part of the conversation. So I just want to add an element. I feel like it's not that no one brings it up, but I just want to bring it to the table again. That this is clearly a lower budget Sonic game that we're talking about, Sonic Forces. No one is going to disagree with that statement. I think we all understand that it is a lower budget game, considering that it sold at, what, 40 on release? And it's gotten many discounts already.
Yeah.
Be that for whatever reason we may think. Whatever. It is a title that is trying to appeal to a new market while trying to appeal to an existing market. And that's exactly what the game is. The experience is obviously intentionally streamlined. And unfortunately for the fandom, that was not the choice we needed. But that doesn't necessarily mean the game itself was a failure. That's kind of how I see it. It's like, okay, this was another one. Like, it's similar to Lost World, where largely Sonic Team didn't really hide the fact that Lost World was for Mario fans, to welcome those people that otherwise wouldn't know what Sonic is. Also, if at any point you were like, can we just stop talking about Sonic? Please say that. I feel like people feel like they can't say that. I can talk forever because I've been around.
I can talk forever too. Like I could, like it's fuel.
Yeah, and I know there's probably I want to say 8 people in the chat like, wow, that's weird. Why can you talk about Sonic forever? You're 25. I know. I'm totally aware of it. I don't know why. I'm gonna have to deal with it, and so are you. Or you could leave. I don't know.
I think Sonic is something that we could all talk about is because there's so many different variations of Sonic. There's so many different like Sonic games in terms of like their direction, the way they play. Like there's so much to talk about. And I think what makes the Sonic series or Sonic games interesting every time they come out is because we don't know what to expect with every game. They're sometimes like, yeah, the past couple of main modern Sonic games have been relatively the same in terms of the boost formula, but they're all different in their own way, and we never know what to expect. And in a way, it's a blessing and a curse. Most people probably would say it's like the latter, but I've always kind of admired that about the series. I think that's what kind of, a lot of people would say, how many times can you get burned from a series before you drop it? It's like, the Sonic series is interesting to me where it's like, I'm itching to know what the next one's gonna be, and a lot of people sometimes don't realize that. And I will say this about Forces to add on to that whole discussion. I do appreciate the game for being more or less, now a lot of people say that the story was lacking, and I do agree with that in terms of its writing, but I appreciate it for attempting to try to be more story-centric, especially after generations.
Same, I definitely agree with that. Yeah. It's weird, and I think that's the fatal flaw of Sonic Forces. I've been writing down my opinions lately, but just to like really organize them, because Sonic Forces is one of those games that's like really hard to unpack because it was marketed in a really different way than it was received. Meaning, I feel like the concept of bringing Sonic back into a more serious narrative really, really clashed. Not to say that they both can't exist together, but really clashed with the custom hero option. Here's why. Because when you add the option to customize a hero, you can see my other save files named Dick. I know, I'm 12. Sorry. Whatever. It's spelled D-I-K, so it's okay. It's censored. I guess I'm gonna, since this is my playthrough... Wait, what? Eggman? Oh, I forgot that it does the cute little thing where it fills in names for you of the characters, which I like, so... Also, let's talk about colors for a little bit, since this is something that's...
Let's change the subject.
This is like a game that, like... People bring up valid criticisms of this game. I want to start the conversation like that. People do. These are valid criticisms that people have with this game. My problem herein lies... Sorry. I literally, like, probably one more sentence. The problem lies in comparing Sonic to things that do not exist in the brand yet. Meaning, on the scale of current Sonic games that we currently have, Colors is a good one.
Yes.
And that is the part I think is missing. What were you going to say, Sam?
What I was going to say is, in terms of, like, Colors at the time, I think Colors suffers from that Adventure 2 syndrome, where it's like the longer as time goes, people start to pick it apart more and more. I've only played Colors probably like a handful of times since I got it since day one. But I've always adored Colors for what it did start, because it really was something new to the series. Yeah, people will say it's more or less Unleashed started that, but this kind of experimented with that formula more that was started in Unleashed, and it did something also unique to it, where I think the setting of Colors being an amusement park and it giving us the excuse to experience many different areas that are unique in their own right is something that I think people gloss over a little too much. I really give this game a lot of credit for being it's a very good how do I say this? It's a very good idea, you know, that the writers came up with when designing how the game should be, and all that stuff like that.
It's I'm experiencing a lot of slowdowns and I keep forgetting to switch it. So guys, everybody has got to remind me after this level I'm going to switch, because I thought about it. I'm like, I'm going to have to replay this level. So I will complete this level. I want to change the resolution. My computer's on the way out. That's just the way it is. So this is the remnants of a PC that once could do the streams that you used to see. I am sorry. If you're new to the stream, I promise, watch my previous archives. The stream quality is obviously normally much higher than this. I apologize. But I just killed myself. La la la. But what I wanted to add to the Colors conversation was the valid criticisms mentioned earlier definitely have a lot to do with the tone shift. It's a big enough change to change the entire voice cast, which I can relate to with my experience, my shocking experience as a child, all of a sudden not hearing Ryan Drummond's voice, and that's hard. That's hard for people to accept when they've been with the series for so long. It would happen with any character, and it really does, honestly. Like, people pretend that it doesn't happen in other franchises, and it does. It's hard for everybody.
Yeah.
And to do that and change the tone of the writing at the same time, I think was just too much all at once, and it shows now. And I feel like I'm privileged because Shadow the Hedgehog really didn't change that much for me in terms of tone. So I still had games that felt the same. So I guess I'm privileged in the sense, like, I guess Ryan Drummond era fans are a little bit more privileged than Jason fans, because people who were vibing Jason, they lost it all at once. All at once, it went away in a snap. Everything changed.
Without warning, too.
Everything changed from Colors. Now here's my perspective. Since I was Ryan fan first, Jason comes around. He's not Ryan, so that's what on that ground alone, let's say I hate him because I'm a child. So I hate him for no reason, no valid reason. And then Roger comes around and the entire series changes. And so it gives me a chance to restart with the series. And that first game that gave me the chance to start over with Sonic and meet him again was Colors. And that was all I needed to take this game from just a good, which I think is objective, But yeah, that's what I think. Whatever. And I know it's subjective, but I mean, like, at a technical level, I think this is an impressive game for the Wii. I do.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But my bias stems from that experience that I was given, which is a second chance to fall in love with the series again. And I think, to tie it back to our conversation about Forces from earlier, I think Sonic Forces is that game for a lot of people. It may not be the best game, but it may be the game that some people really, really needed.
Really like, yeah.
So, I don't know.
It was probably a lot of people's introduction to the custom character as well. A lot of people to the deviant art part of Sonic in terms of all the custom characters people have made and all that stuff. And that game was probably a lot of people's first introduction to those characters. I agree with. I understand. I completely understand what you're saying. I'm full guilty of that too, where I sometimes don't think about that stuff. Like, this game is probably someone's first experience, and yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Heroes was underrated, somebody says. I agree with that. I loved Heroes. I was someone that absolutely loved Heroes. I replayed that game every day.
Yeah, Heroes, honestly, I think Heroes is one of the most solid gameplay concepts in the entire franchise, meaning it has the idea of having the sheer quantity of playable characters it helps Sonic with the inevitably droning gameplay that intense speed yields. It's just, to have that much speed, it means that you have to create so much content for that character to travel through. And with all that content to travel through, there's definitely going to be parts where you're not actively controlling it because it's filler. If you had an anime that was paced incredibly fast in the manga, it inevitably, to sell the product, will have filler in it because it's too quick. There's too much content, and they need to make the money that it took to, I don't know, like, or they couldn't, and they could make it like Kill la Kill, where all the budget gets blown in like a few episodes. But I think that, I don't know how or why both business structures work and why businesses choose one over the other. I don't really know. Does it just come to basic funding? If you don't have a big enough budget initially, I guess that's probably what it is. Everybody opts for shorter series, more detail, overall more filling narrative with less filler in it. Everyone opts for that, but you only get it if you're the studio that deserves it, that gets the funding.
I made a tweet a couple days ago about the time each Sonic game had. And a lot of people brought up what you just talked about. When it like, people prefer short and sweet rather than long and drawn out and filler.
I think that's what Forces was trying to do.
Yeah.
Just to plug that conversation back in for people who've been watching since the beginning or watching the archive. I'm looking out for you, guy that's bored on a weekend that it isn't working. I got you, or girl.
We're not assuming genders here.
Yeah, I just meant guy as in, like, average Joe. Dude, no, I didn't mean that. The new Sonic design. Wait, what? Whatever you guys were saying earlier ago, there's no new Sonic design? Oh, it was probably something in the chat. Ryan's probably trying to clear something up that we weren't paying attention to, which, by the way, we should probably be taking some questions from the chat. So, guys, it's Sam and I are obviously hitting it off, and we're talking so much, and we're hitting it off so well.
Go ahead and send your questions. We'll
answer. Yeah, we'll answer some questions. We'll let you guys steer the discussion a little bit more. I no longer have to worry if Sam and I will get along real nice. We're good. What's up? You can ask me a question, of course.
No, I was reading the comment.
Fine, don't ask me a question then.
I have nothing to say to you. Can I ask you something? Which one is better, Sonic X, Sonic Boom, or Sonic Mini Adventure? I think Sonic Mini Adventure is something that you can't even. That's not really a TV show. That was short. Like, but anyways, which where'd the comment go? Okay, which one is better? in my opinion, well, I'll let Evan go first since this is his channel.
So what was the question?
Oh, which one is better, Sonic X, Sonic Boom, or Sonic Mania Adventures?
Oh, Sonic Mania Adventures, because of basically what we just spoke about, short and sweet.
Yeah, short and sweet.
While the criticisms that I'm aware of that series are that nothing really narratively happened. I didn't have the expectations of anything large happening in the beginning of a new series. It felt more like a pilot episode of a series. I do hope and expect more complex narratives, not super like dramatic ones or anything, if you guys are thinking that when I say that. Just more surprising, less traditional for classic Sonic, but still something that fits into the world, of course. But yeah, I feel like overall that's the best way to go. The new series, that's on the table right now. A lot of people are expecting something modern, and yeah, you know, you guys are entitled to it. There has been a lot of lacking content for modern Sonic. However, I feel like they're going to be hot on the heels of the success of Mania Adventures, and it's more likely, just from when you consider the obvious financial struggles that we've seen from Rise of Lyric and Lost World in terms of sales, not talking about opinions or anything like that. Those games didn't sell well, and obviously the reason Team Sonic Racing and Sonic Forces have less of the content that you're expecting from previous titles is simply because when they're getting shipped out, they're being priced at a smaller, or they have a lower price. Sorry, I can't say basic things.
You're good.
Oh, I'm dead. Anyway, so yeah, they're being sold at a lower price because there's less
Team Sonic
content.
Racing is being sold at a lower price?
Yeah, I believe it's selling for 40, though.
I did not know that.
I guess you can quote me on that, but I honestly don't know. It's from a friend, so I don't know. I don't know anything.
That is interesting. I didn't hear about that.
So yeah, so I feel like with that knowledge, it makes me think maybe they're gonna play it safe for a little while. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, that's gonna make a lot of people upset. They're gonna threaten to leave, but that's what the brand, I think, needs to do to heal before it starts taking risks again.
And that's and if you look at the numbers, that's really what the general audience or general gaming audience kind of likes, is they really like classic Sonic. They really do, and they really do want to cater to that general audience. Whatever brings, at the end of the day, Sega's a company, and Sonic Team's a company as well. Like they're under Sega, but they're a company, and they want money. And at the end of the day, that's what brings in the money, is appealing to the people, that the general audience. And going back to the question, I do agree with Evan that I personally like Sonic Mania Adventures more, because it kind of has that more of a Tom and Jerry feel to it, where both kids and adults can like it both. Sonic X, I grew up with the 4Kids version of it, obviously. I liked season 1 of it. I didn't really like season 3 at all in space. But season 1 and the one where they go back to Sonic Adventure, all that stuff, I like that stuff. Sonic Boom was definitely appealing towards kids, so I agree definitely with Evan when it comes to Sonic Mania Adventures, that I prefer that over the two.
Sorry, I gotta pull the name again, but I do know the question. I believe it was... Oh, Silver Nick asks, Sam and Evan, do you guys want a Silver the Hedgehog game?
Yeah, I get that question a lot.
Really? Really?
Yeah,
it's relatively new for me.
You know, I think it would be a... Oh, man. I would love to see it purely out of curiosity and what they could do with a character like Silver. But at the same time, that would raise a lot of eyebrows for people that aren't as into Sonic but know about the Sonic, games. And when they see that on stuff, they're gonna be like, "They made a Silver game? The guy from
06?
That's what people are gonna think."
Yeah.
I would like to see it purely out of curiosity, it's kind of like the Sonic movie. I want to see it out of curiosity, and the main general audience is like, there's a Sonic movie,
Okay, so in terms of Silver game for myself, this is the really unfortunate thing about the conversation. Shadow got a game when the series was at a very different point. It was at unfortunately, it was at a much higher and more dominant position in gaming. They were able to take that kind of risk before. I don't know if they could afford to take the risk to make a silver game. And I feel like people expect a shadow game, or sorry, a silver game because there was a shadow game. And that's the unfortunate reality of our situation, and it's what causes a lot of people's problems with games nowadays. They just don't realize, like, yes, it's like I'm saying expect less. But my problem is that on every stream that we do, where there's a new announcement, right, I can see all the comments. I can see what people are asking for. And it gets to the point where when you see all those requests they're asking from Sega, and you see their reaction, because what people don't realize is that content creators, while they're, you know, doing their streams and reacting to the things that happen, and all the viewers think they know everything about the content creators, and we know nothing about you guys. We see you in the comments when you react. We see how you guys feel. And sometimes, the more and more you're in a franchise, the more and more you learn about what to expect. I'm not going to claim that I'm a game designer or anything. But I'm, you know, I've been in the fandom like a really long time. We're talking, I'm 10 plus years on YouTube already. So like 10 plus years of like a few years ago, that's just on YouTube. And I was already like a cave dweller computer user well before that. So we see your reactions, and it gets hard to be like, oh no, you're asking for something that it's not the time for right now, and you're going to inevitably get upset, and it hurts to see it happen over and over again. So it's hard not, I don't know why my game is lagging. What's going on? The resolution is like so low already. It's like I'm actually playing it on a Wii.
Is it just the cutscene, you think? Usually, emulators are usually, the cutscenes are usually buggy with emulators.
Yeah, but even the gameplay itself has been whatever.
So buggy.
Yeah, and I can play it just fine. It has to do with my stream and my computer's dying. It's just, I don't know what it is, but whatever. My computer's on the way out. But it's fine. It's, you know, no jinx in it. I'm sure we'll get to the end of the stream just fine. But anyway, it hurts my heart, and I don't know how to tell people. It's not, I don't want to say to expect less. You should chant for what you want. It's in the reaction when you don't receive what you want that I'm kind of talking about. You should definitely call out for the things you want. If you want SA3, all the power to you. The classic fans chanted and chanted and chanted for a true classic game, and they got Mania. Like, you can do it. But it's in how you receive details.
But I see a comment here that is a hot topic right now in the community. What do you think Shadow's chances are of being in Smash, and would he be an Echo or an OG fighter? This is from the YouTube commentator. I'll let you go first. I'm not very. Right. I'm not gonna. Let me put this out real quick. And people are going to hunt me down if I say this. I didn't grow up with Smash, and I'm trying to get into it now.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Good luck.
Because I've said it before. I didn't really grow up with a whole lot of Nintendo consoles, so I was never introduced to a lot of series. I did play Smash all the time, sometimes when I was a kid, at friends' houses. I never owned it. So I'm hunting them down now. I'm doing my research. So I'll let Evan go first.
I'm going to be... we should definitely talk later about how you feel about Smash, because I feel like everything about Smash is because of nostalgia. So I wonder what it would be like for somebody who's just completely outside of all that and like, this game objectively is not very, I don't know, you know what I mean?
I do have a lot of things to say about it.
That would be very interesting to see what you think. What was the question again? I was so interested in that.
What are Shadow's chances of being an Echo fighter, and would he be an OG fighter if he was in Smash?
So, I mean, I'm sure people that follow me on Twitter already know how I feel about this, but basically, I'm thinking about how Sakurai makes his cute little trailers where the players are interacting, like Isabelle telling Sonic to stop because he's, moves around a lot. Ha ha, it's a joke. He loves to do things like that. Also paired with the fact that people are noticing a trend in characters revealed and Mii Fighter costumes from Smash 4, I kind of expect Tails a little bit more than Shadow, as probable as it is that Shadow, because he is not an assist trophy. I feel like Shadow will be in the game somehow because of that very reason as well. But I just don't know how yet. Maybe they're both. I'm kind of leaning most to Tails and Shadow. One being original and one being Echo. I'm not sure which one. A lot of people will argue that Shadow deserves his own spot You want to know the deep, dark secret in my brain? I don't think he's unique enough for his own slot. I think he should be an Echo. But people, I don't know. People really read into Shadow. I don't know about Shadow. I will claim ignorance on Shadow. I'm not in the loop with all this stuff going on here. I don't understand how Black Doom gets from Shadow. That's the part I don't know about. It's all on you guys, man. I don't know. Maybe he can grow an alien hand from Shadow the Hedgehog that one secret level if you get all 300 endings. I don't know, because I didn't do it. Because I'm busy, man. I'm 25, dude. I don't got time for Shadow the Hedgehog. Are you kidding me? What? I'm just kidding. It came out when I was younger. Anyway, what do you think?
Let me just clarify real quick. Echo Fighters pretty much are just a skin, right?
No, they'd make small modifications.
Then yeah, I would say Shadow would just be an Echo Fighter, honestly. Yeah. I would say Shadow probably wouldn't be that hard to put in the game, because he really is a Sonic clone. Just kind of. I mean, people would probably be happy with that, honestly. If he had his Chaos Control abilities, I mean, that would be really cool. But yeah, I would say Tails probably has more of a chance of getting in Smash first than Shadow. But if they were to put both characters in it somehow, I'm sure they would probably announce them at the same time. But I would say Tails, because Tails is Sonic's Luigi. In a way.
Yeah. Another thing I love about Colors, I can choose to play whatever levels I want. Yeah, I don't have a hub world, but it gives you a chance one point in the game where you have Starlight Carnival and... wait, what the... Oh no, now I feel like Sonic the Hedgehog because I don't know the title of a stage correctly. What was that? Burgered Mountain Land? Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm so embarrassed. Oh, live on Tails channel. I don't know Sonic stages. Remember. Oh my gosh, it's a curse. It's because... Okay, it's a real curse now, guys. Everyone who retweets... Oh, it's happening. It's still affecting me. I have bad luck right now. Everyone who retweets that incorrect Sonic the Hedgehog blog tweet gets cursed. It gets cursed. I'm losing it, man. I can't stop. Help. I'm making mistakes. All of a sudden, I'm going to start saying, crazy things like Sonic 06 is one of the best Sonic games of all time. Wait a minute. Premi's had it all along. Oh, no. We got to go track him down.
Got to him.
Oh, no. We got to go get Premi. Premi, I'm joking. I love you. I'm sorry that you're feeling down in the dumps about the Sonic Tuber stuff, Premi. You'll be okay. You'll be okay. You're better than that. You'll get through it. Don't worry.
Yeah, Premi, do like I do. Just mute your Twitter notifications. Suddenly they're gone.
Whatever works, man.
No drama. That's crazy.
You got it. Don't let it stress you out too much. It's not a big deal. It'll pass. People will say what they say, you know. That's what they do. People will say it. It's all good. You good. We good.
We're
You good? We good? Oh, they turned to blocks again. Also, okay, I really want to talk about... We're going to grab some questions from the comments again real soon, but this is something I need to talk to you about with you, Sam. Sam. The curse is still affecting me. So, it is amazing how many people that I genuinely admire intellectually. Like, I go, wow, I agree with everything you say. But then all of a sudden, full stop, I will just be like, wait a minute, whoa, that's wrong. People will say that, 2D is just objectively bad for video games. And I will respect the people who say that, everything else they say, except for that moment. And I don't know how to explain it in a better way than just being like, no. And it sounds like I'm talking down everyone, but I really am confused. Please explain to me that opinion, because no one really has. They just kind of say that it's bad for no reason. So anyway, the thing that sounds, because some people don't know what I'm talking about, the thing that sounds like I'm talking down everyone is I go, no. 2D does not equal bad. Bad 2D equals bad. No, 3D is not bad. Bad 3D equals bad. It sounds like I'm going, yeah, I'm treating you like you're 3 years old, but I really disagree and I don't understand. It's just a different dimension to develop a game for. And those are unique limitations like every genre has put upon it. First-person shooters have their very own limitations based on the fundamentals of the type of game. And 2D is no different. If you design around those obstacles and make it the most optimal experience. So to say things like that, and especially since it's a regular thing that I hear in the Sonic fandom, that's probably not giving us a very good reputation. That's something that's really be careful what you say. Just make sure you mean what you say, and you don't make that mistake. Because I know you don't mean it. That has to be a mistake. There's no way.
Yeah. 2D 2D really is like, okay, just to go back on the original like point. You said that 2D is bad for, or some people argue that 2D is bad for the series?
No, they just think it's like 2D equals bad. Like in general, it is an inferior dimension in games and video games.
So is it primarily, are you talking about when it comes to 2D games in their entirety, or 2D being in 3D sections?
So I think that's what people mean. So that's normally where the conversation is starting, and that's where I think the error is made, right? We're talking about modern Sonic, typically, and then we talk about, and then there's the stigma on the 2D sections. Now, the reason that this conversation keeps coming up for me is because I'm a big advocate of the implementation of 2D sections, because I'm from the area of fans that was super excited for Sonic 06, loved Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic Adventure, and 06 was supposed to be that return to that style for us. And for whatever reason, whatever you believe, it didn't deliver for me. It delivered on almost every aspect except for the game itself. So when the series decided to take a turnaround and look back at itself and shift its focus back to gameplay, I had no problem with that, because the only thing that was missing was gameplay. Now the problem we have is the opposite issue. Now we have gameplay, but now the conversation is confusing, because I feel like we do have gameplay, but people feel like we don't have gameplay because it's the only element that's appropriate, when I think what people miss from the adventure games is the incentive to complete the level from a narrative standpoint. There was way more stakes that we have not seen since the adventure days. Now Sonic is just doing a little lazy jaunt through outer space for no reason, but it's more fun to get from point A to B. That's subjective, I understand. But from a fan that's followed it in that way, through the timeline, in order, and not just referring back to it, experiencing it in real time, from somebody who's experienced that in real time, I think they made the best decisions they could at the time. And now we're seeing it where it has to go back, and we got to go full circle. And that's the issue Forces had, was I thought Forces was going to be perfect. And it's weird, but I genuinely believed that it would be. I genuinely believed
it was going to be perfect too, honestly. I did too.
In terms of the amount of time that they were absent, and in terms of what I felt like they learned from Generations, and the message that was received after Generations, because there was this beautiful wave of people that were like, Unleashed was amazing. Wait a minute, Adventure 2, that story, I loved that. Wait, Adventure 1, I really liked the tone of that story too. Where did that go? And this beautiful movement formed, and all of a sudden, I saw two things lining up perfectly. Gameplay, where we have a gameplay style that has 2D in it, where if they just fine-tune it to be more like the classic experience, classic fans will have the 2D portions, modern will have the 3D. Then we bring the story back. Classic fans don't really care about what happens in a story, so we'll tack on the adventure tone, slap in some 2D sections that are better designed, more like Mania's 2D levels, but they would still be within 3D levels. And now where I'm upset is there's a divide even still. When I thought, I was like, oh wow, we really figured it out. It really felt like we got it. But now people are saying that 2D is objectively bad, and now that's where my ignorance begins, I imagine. Where I need someone to fill in those blanks for me. And where was it established that 2D is just inferior objectively? Because that's how it feels like we're discussing 2D. I keep forgetting which one's the stomp and which one's the boost. Anyway, I need to figure that out, because that is what I think is missing from the conversation. And every argument that I see that happens about this just feels like it's the same thing. It's two people talking about two different things, and they're not using the right vocabulary. And it's like, no, we're better than this. We are. We can move the conversation forward, and we have before, and we can do it. I did it again. Speaking of moving forward, anyway, Sam, you can take the torch. I'm really sorry.
No, you're good. You're good, man. I think when it comes to 2D sections, when people say that it's a hindrance to their gameplay and it's a break of pace, all those arguments. I like it. I think what we have here is 2D sections that maybe weren't designed well for people to get that impression, and I think that's mainly when it comes to forces. Well, that's the first thing I think about, because I mean, those were very linear, but at least in my opinion. But I agree with what you said at first, that like 2D sections aren't a hindrance. Bad 2D sections are bad. You know, bad, like 2D sections aren't bad. Bad 2D sections are bad. It depends on how it's designed. It depends on how it's implemented in the game. Like when it comes to Sonic Lost World, some people's arguments were that in 2D sections, Sonic stops running at full speed. When you're holding on the run button, he's going at like this uncomfortable jog, and it's kind of like your facial expressions.
It's just because the game is still slowing down, and it's like I have the resolution of a graham cracker. Like, what's happening to my computer?
Yeah, but I think some of the recent games probably give people that bad impression. Those that maybe weren't around during the 2D era. I think Sonic Mania is a testament that 2D games as a whole can definitely hold their own, and they're fun, and they could be engaging, just as engaging as a 3D game. It really all comes down to how it's designed. And when it comes to 2D sections in Modern Sonic, I think those are not a hindrance. I think those would be I think those were a smart thing to add in Generations. They start going 2.5D with 3D. Evan, come on, man.
I know, it's like we were just talking about like what is bad 2D. This is bad 2D. This is obviously a filler level, and that's fine, you know? Like I know what's going on right now. Don't think I'd like this is what like honestly, you could make an edit where I'm like, Sonic Colors is not that bad, and then play this footage of me dying a million times, right? And just being like, what the heck? But no, Sonic Colors is the best. Dies. No, I just really like it. It's charming. Like every point I made, play the death of this stage. I don't like the stage. I know what's going on. This is Sonic Colors' own version of Big the Cat.
Channel. We know everything that's happening. Don't think we don't. Evan has everything under control.
This is the mech levels in SA2. This is the Big the Cat in SA1. This is the death. It's the padding, man. It's the padding, and yeah, it's there. Yeah, it's not our favorite part. I keep dying, but you know what?
Yeah,
I died again. Wait, I got a game over. I can go to a different level though, and it gave me that option. So you know what? I'm not mad. Because I can go. I don't have to play that right now. That's actually like cool.
The cup is not half empty. It's half full.
Well, no, I can complete this part when I get more familiar with the controls. Hey, good game design, it incentivizes experimentation with the controls so you can be better at it by the time you get to the end of the game, man. And sorry, but I feel like that's a fair statement to make. I feel like that is a plus for Colors. I don't know. Not every game can say it has that. Sorry.
But yeah, that's pretty much my point of view on the whole 2D section. I'm going back like 20 minutes ago. When you were talking about Forces being, when you thought Forces was gonna be like the perfect game because it was, I mean, you guys will know this. My channel was built off the hype of Forces in Mania. Was the Forces having a bunch of things like story implementation, character customization, taking the gameplay that we've established and what we've worked with for years. The 4-year absence of the, or was it 5 years? 4 years or 5 years, whatever. That long absence the main Sonic team had, and we've all had like we had the right to expect a game that was a great experice.
And I think that's what we expected with Lost World, and then we were like, uh-oh. And then Forces just was like, like when it said it was Boost, and we all screamed at the what was it, the South by Southwest panel where they revealed the gameplay because it was Boost, and we were like, and the reason we were excited is not because Boost is some advanced alien technology concept that gaming has never seen before. No, it's just because Sonic never sticks to one gameplay style ever, And if he could just, we always thought before then anyways, that if Sonic could just stick to one gameplay style, he would figure it out, and he would straighten it out, and we would be good, and nothing would ever happen bad again. And how wrong and ignorant we were.
Well, and that's why I was so heated in my review, because a lot of people, that's where people started to think I hated the game. I was hurt when I wrote that review. It's because the game went backwards in terms of gameplay and what we thought that, like, yes, they're working with the boost formula. They've used this formula so many times. They have to make Generations was a pretty quality. I almost said a bad word. Generations was a good game. And now it's time to use that boost formula again, and to really, let's do the same thing to Generations, play with it some more, let's get a little more original, and let's do this. And they went backwards. It was very linear. It was all boost heavy. It was very automated. Insert double boost meme sandwich meme eating here.
I've seen it.
And that's what turned a lot of people off about the boost formula entirely. Now is I see a lot of people kind of attacking the whole boost formula. Now they're like, enough. Now go back to the adventure formula. And I kind of feel that too now, where it's like, all right, if they feel this burned out about but at the same time, I'm thinking about it, it could be a lot they could do with the boost formula, but just it all goes back to Forces was a budget title. And you could see it through and through. The biggest thing they worked on in Forces was the CG cutscene or CG trailers that were not in the game.
I wanted to, just before we open the door to more comment questions, I wanted to speak for the person who is there in the chat. They're sitting there and they go, I like Forces. I really do like Forces. Now, I don't want to, you're entitled to that opinion entirely, and I don't want to make you feel like you're alienated from this conversation, so this is what I have to say about, this is what I think you believe, I guess, and I understand, because Sonic Forces, I think, is a streamlined experience. That is a fact. And I think I tried to introduce people to playing Generations. I tried to introduce people into even playing Colors, and people that don't really follow the Sonic series, it's not very easy to pick up Sonic and play like Mario or other games like that. It's hard to pick up and play. It's quite intimidating for new gamers. Honestly, when it comes to that experience, showing somebody Sonic Forces, getting them to learn how to play it, they can have more fun than they did with their Colors, their Generations, because they can experience it. And yeah, there are people out there that love that, and that's fine. But it's also, on the other side, it's to be expected that somebody who has followed the franchise for as long as it has expects a natural evolution of what has been established previously. So the divide we see is nothing out of the ordinary, nothing surprising for me at all. It's both sides are entirely justified, is what I'm trying to say. There is nothing wrong with enjoying a streamlined experience because it makes it more user-friendly, however, inevitably simplifying the experience to veterans of the series that expect a more nuanced experience. There's no surprise. That's what is meant to happen.
Matt commented saying, Evan, please stop making sense. By the way, Matt, love you, man.
I guess it implies that he understands me, and I'm all right with that.
Yeah,
I'm good with that. So, guys, somebody asked us what our thoughts were on Sonic Unleashed, so let's go with that to start.
Oh, wow.
What do you think, Sam? And you start, because I don't want to go on too long this time. I want to be more brief.
You're good, man. Sonic Unleashed has the opposite of what Colors has. As time goes on, people like it more.
Yeah, that's true. I would agree with that.
I fall under that category. When I first played Unleashed, I was kind of like alright, like a boost formula's cool, Warhog, hate it. That's what everybody said under the sun. I'm such a generic guy. But that's
I was like that too.
Said.
I mean, I guess we're both generic guys. I said the same thing.
And now that I look at it, if they just replaced the Warhog with Knuckles, I would have loved it. So, you know, I kind of look at it now like, yes, Warhog was the Warhog. I said Warhog. Warhog. Sorry.
Warhog.
Werehog was a filler in some way. Yeah, because the game would have been probably 2 hours if it were not there. But if they put the resources they used to make the Werehog into another Sonic character playing it, then I'm sure people wouldn't have a problem with it. But now, when it goes back to Unleashed, I'm gonna make the statement now, and I don't know if people agree with me. Unleashed is the most polished Sonic game released in a long time. That game feels finished. A lot of people.
I agree, but I feel like you're forgetting now. As favorable as Unleashed's tone is, I don't actually believe that it is the contender for most polished Sonic game. Now, most polished doesn't necessarily mean the best. I feel like now, you know what I'm about to say. Lost World is actually incredibly polished. It feels tight. It feels complete. It feels like a finished product. Whether or not you like that product is...
Well, what about the story for... remind me, because again, it's been a while since I played both Unleashed and Lost World.
Right.
For Lost World, did the story feel very cut and dry to you?
In terms of story, it felt like they really tried to do something new with Lost World, and ultimately, it fell flat. I feel like the overall experience of Lost World is that their ambitious decisions for the game fell flat. In its implementation, it really isn't weak. It's just, it falls flat to veterans of the series again. I feel like if you replaced Sonic with some other iconic IP, and it was trying to rebrand itself, I don't know, let's say SpongeBob all of a sudden made a big ambition to like transition into the gaming scene, and he came up with this weird, quirky, imaginative land that he was traveling to, and it played just like Lost World. I feel like that would be received much better just on the grounds that it's not Sonic the Hedgehog, and that's fine. It's because Sonic is supposed to be something. Yeah, go.
Yeah, and let me stop this mentality now that we see a lot from the general audience that likes to hate on Sonic, or which admittedly I love Game Grumps, but Aaron from Game Grumps that usually makes this comment is Sonic is about going fast. I'm not going fast, so this equals bad game, bad Sonic game. This sucks. The Sonic series, when it comes to like Lost World, because that game got hit a lot for not quote unquote being fast enough, which Kabban Mani proved I'm wrong in that video of him just rolling along. Sonic was never just about going fast. Sonic has always been about replaying, getting better, learning the stage, gaining momentum, and using that momentum to then keep learn the stage to keep your momentum going, and that was your reward.
Sonic is about encouraging people's god complexes. Now I will explain this right now. Literally, the entire Sonic product is basically giving you is letting you experience being a god, but you work for it. Now, the only way that it feels earned is if you have the opportunity to experiment and learn the mechanics of Sonic. It needs to have very well thought out lower routes that teach you the mechanics, and then you are rewarded with said speed. If you need to if you fall to the bottom layer and you give up right away, that's your fault. Not Sonic's fault. Sonic is designed to catch you,
if you bottom route, you're a pleb.
No, meaning if the moment you hit the bottom route, you quit because you're aware you're on the bottom route, it's your fault. You're missing out on the part where Sonic shines, is what I'm saying. I feel like it's unfair to make a criticism about Sonic until you experience the gravy of the series, which is literally the bottom route. That's where it's teaching you its core mechanics. The best Sonic games under the hood will be teaching you the mechanics properly underneath it. Sonic Colors is a good example of this. While its blocky level design is annoying to people who are used to momentum-based gameplay, that doesn't necessarily mean that just because they've done away with momentum-based gameplay that it's objectively bad, because this game does a very great job of teaching you how to control its new double jump mechanic. All of a sudden, speed takes a back seat. It means that speed is all of a sudden balanced with the mechanic of jumping.
Yeah.
Because if you have an entirely slopey game, like we see in a lot of Sage entries that are focused on implementing that momentum that we miss so much in 3D Sonic, the problem with those games is that it feels a little bit like they're playing themselves, doesn't it? For me, Colors is on the other side, where it does a great job of teaching you how to earn that speed. And when you earn it, it feels like you've earned it. I know that the slopey level designs are painfully absent, but I feel like there's something that Colors did right that is missing from the conversation. That's all. Let's find a question. Let's try our best to answer questions. It just means that we like talking to each other. It just it's just unfortunately to the chat's detriment.
The synergy. Go ahead and shoot some questions. Matt is gonna make the entire chat turn to numbers for a second.
Matt, you know that one time that we were doing a stream where we were like live tweeting, I forget what it was, live tweeting, I don't remember what it was, it's a stream archive. Anyway, we were live tweeting and all we had on stream was like a poll of like what people expected. And I was trying to implement a live poll and everything and trying to implement all these things, so it's kind of my fault. But Matt had the meme going on that he has right now, press 1 in the chat. I forget how it started, but I had that morning I had implemented a new chat transition. Now, with the knowledge also that my computer's dying, I implemented a new transition. I wasn't aware that my computer was on the way out. So him telling everyone to press 1 in the chat actually caused our stream to shut down like multiple times. And we had no idea it was his fault. While we were doing it, I was like looking around everywhere for a problem. And then I looked back at the archive and it was just because it was trying to load every single one's really cool transition.
So if the stream goes down, blame Matt.
No, that's exactly why we don't have the chat on screen anymore. Because we're like, oh, it's not worth it. Matt, no, it's okay. It's just hilarious. It's just hilarious. We have a question somewhere. There's got to be. Yeah, Evan, do you think that Team Sonic Racing would be an okay-ish game and not going to be like another Forces low sales? Oh, Forces did not sell badly, and I feel like eventually with enough games like Forces in the series, as annoying as it may be, with enough games like Forces sales-wise, we will be back to larger scale products, unless they find a nice little cute, safe corner that they can carve out for themselves in gaming where they sell at 40 and that's all they do. Maybe that's going to go really great for them, but it's one or the other. And I think Team Sonic Racing is going to be like that. It's less content than we're used to from the Transform titles, but that's why it's rebranded. They didn't call it Forces Adventure 3 for a reason, because it's from a different era. It's from a different time when they could implement more new things. And now Forces can implement a custom hero, and it's $40. And Team Sonic Racing implements what it can because it's $40.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
I'm very interested in the Team Sonic Racing because that team mechanic is a very interesting thing, I think, to the racing genre. I don't think we've seen too many racing games, if I'm wrong here, where that implement a team mechanic like they have. I'm very interested in it. I think a lot of people are like, it looks slow and all this stuff, but it's still like when they demo the game, they're usually playing on like an easy difficulty, which easy difficulty equals slower speed. So I think the people need to look at gameplay of the harder difficulty when it comes to Team Sonic Racing, because that usually means it's a faster game. Because that's something I see a lot when it comes to Team Sonic Racing. Now, here's a really good question that I actually really want to touch upon that Silver/Nick keeps talking about in the chat. And it is, Sam and Evan, do you want Ben Schwartz to be the next Sonic voice actor?
I would not have a problem with that at all. I just don't know if they'll be able to afford it. I know that everyone that's watching right now is like, why are you doing so bad? Guys, my focus is split. It's so easy for a viewer to be like, when I play alone in my room with no distractions at all, and my dog is sleeping, and literally no one else is awake because it's 3 a.m. and I have nothing else to focus on except for Sonic the Hedgehog, I can do it flawlessly. Sorry, guys. I'm multitasking.
People don't understand. No, people don't understand. Streaming is actually hard. Trying to talk, look at chat, make sure your stream is still playing and you're not
and not like crash. Yeah.
Play a video game at the same time. It's hard. Trust me.
So sorry, guys. I know that I'm dying to this boss for silly reasons. I see it happen and I go, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. There's gonna be one guy in the chat. He's gonna meet me one day. I'm gonna be at a convention or something, and they're gonna be like, you really suck at colors. And I'll be like, no, it's not. It's just because no. It's just because no. And everything I say will just sound like an excuse. So what's the point? Anyway, what was the question?
It was Ben Schwartz being the next voice actor.
Oh yeah. Are you okay with it?
Yeah, the compilation that Sai put together of Ben Schwartz talking or acting out his voice. My God, that guy is, I'd say, perfect for what Sonic should sound like. He really has that mix of Ryan Drummond and kind of has that Jason Griffith at sometimes, but he really has like a mix of all that we love, and it sounds like a teenager Sonic, and I like that because I have no problem with Roger Craig Smith, but when I first heard Sonic talk in Sonic Colors, I'm like, it sounds like a 40-year-old trying to sound like a surfer. That was my.
Oh no, I remember that. I remember that night I was talking to people that were like, "Oh my gosh, I hope this is like a fake leak. I really hope this is not real." And I'm like, I'm okay with it. And I heard the clips. I know that Alton Towers clips were lowered. They were lower than they were supposed to be, but I still didn't care. I still didn't care because Jason Griffith took my Ryan Drummond away. So I was so like bitter before, and I'll admit that was my mistake. And that was unfair of me.
It's
okay
to admit your mistakes. People grow. People change.
But, I was totally bitter, but you know what? I feel like there are people out there that are not willing to admit that they're just being bitter about Roger. Just gonna say it. They're a little too bitter about it.
I've definitely grown on Roger. I've grown to like him. I think he's perfect for the Boom universe, if that's a constellation. But I never had a problem with Roger. But I've always adored the attitude of Ryan Drummond. So if for some reason Ben Schwartz is suddenly the Sonic voice actor after the Sonic movie for the video games, I wouldn't have a problem with it. Doubt it. It's probably not going to happen, actually, so don't give your hopes up. But I like it. I think he makes a great Sonic.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got in the chat. No, he will not voice Mario. Matt, what do? Do you just Oh man. Somebody says that they've grown on Sonic being mute.
Grown on Sonic being where?
About that? Actually, Sonic being mute. What do you actually say about that?
Oh, that's from L, right?
Being a mute, or like a mute character.
Well, okay. So Sonic. What separates Sonic from Mario is the fact that he can speak. I feel like Sonic in the past has had narratives where Sonic can speak and it has worked. So there really isn't evidence to suggest that that's not just a preference. Like, I feel like even objectively, everyone could agree there is at least one piece of media out there where Sonic talking was a good idea. And it exists for everybody, and nobody would entirely disagree that it's never worked. And if you do, I feel like that's bleeding into the territory of just your preference. There are some moments written very well, with dialogue written very well in the Sonic series. It's just not where you're looking, like in the games most of the time. But they're there, and I feel like it should work. And to just give up on it is not what I think Sonic should be known for. That's all. Exactly. I want him to push gaming forward, not cower away from a challenge. Like, as a brand, the brand should be enticed by new problems. That's what it means to be a developer, is to be faced with a new problem and come up with a gameplay style that fixes that problem. The demand from the consumer. What is the demand? Find a way to push it forward. Give us more than what we expected. And making a mute, it's hard to believe that that's not just a regression in favor of what we're familiar with. And that's not. I don't agree. I don't agree.
Yeah. I agree with everything you said, and I'm not gonna waste my time with my question because I totally agree with everything you said.
Awesome. Then you'll just answer the next one first.
This question comes up in the chat a lot. This guy really wants us to say it. Stampy Alex Gaming says, would you like a new Sonic 3D game like 06? And that's why I like Sonic fan games, because they make a good 3D game like Sonic World. That's what happened with 06. It originally wasn't gonna be a Sonic game originally, but let's just go back to your first original point. Would you like a new Sonic 3D Sonic game like 06? And I would say so. Adventure. You're asking adventure, just not broken. I think that's what the general feel of the fan base is now after Forces. Everyone's like, let's go back to adventure. That's what a lot of people are saying, and I would love to see an attempt again at 3D, not necessarily an Adventure 3, but seeing another go at a fully 3D Sonic game where it has the gameplay style of adventure, using momentum, and having full control of the character at like 95% of the time. I would love that idea.
In response, I would say that I totally want another entirely 3D Sonic game. I do want that, despite what I just said that might seemingly contradict what I said about 2D sections, where I thought that was a really great idea at the time. That's because I thought it was a really great idea at the time. That was the little nugget of information I didn't tell you. That's the new part, is it was good for the time. 2D sections, I think, have worked, but after Forces, you can't do it again. The gameplay style, we need something fresh, unfortunately. And I feel like going full 3D is the best option at this point. Does it have to be like Adventure? Saying like Adventure is scary, because Sonic Adventure is another game that was good because it was good at the time. That was what we needed. We wanted to see how many characters we could cram into a platformer, how many different new mechanics we could introduce into this new 3D world in gaming. And that was impressive, and that's what was impressive at the time. It's not so much the same anymore. It's all the different ways you can use the same foundation of a game, and all those cool ways you can creatively innovate, like Mania does, basically. Mania has a very simple base gameplay that's very easy to pick up. You see it with mobile games mostly, but mainstream games are following suit. Console games are following suit with mobile games. They're streamlining their experiences to make them more accessible, because gaming, don't forget, is growing. It's growing, which is good, but also kind of bad if you're a veteran, if you think about it. So just be ready for what's coming. You're going to be the old guy saying, back in my day, we had our Sonic generations. Keep an open mind, or you're going to get left in the dust like an old fart. Just saying.
And when you think about it like that, a piece of gray hair just suddenly grew out of my skull. Matt says, oh, what if you're Sonic, but also on a motorcycle? Or a bicycle, sorry. Somebody get this guy, somebody get him to Sega. This guy's just popping out ideas left and right.
Sonic on a bike?
Sonic on a bicycle.
That sounds amazing. Let's do it. He could, he can still go fast on a bike. You have to pedal.
He should be on a bicycle for Team Sonic Racing. That's what makes him go fast.
Yo, that'd be hilarious to see him pedaling so fast, and Tails designs this like tornado 6. I don't know which one we're at now. I was trying to come up with like something like on bike. I was going with tornado trike maybe, because alliteration, but that just sounded terrible. But that's what people are gonna remember it as, is the tornado trike, and Sonic is on a tricycle pedaling really fast with supercharged wheels and pretending it looks cool when it really looks like he's a toddler. Anyway, on a unicycle. I want Sonic on a unicycle, shiny. Oh my god. Let's answer some more. Oh yeah, you got another one? Nice.
Evan, do you think they should do a semi-successor to Forces and expand on the concept of that game further and bring them to a whole new level sometime in the future? Question.
So you can build on the foundations of a game like Forces, and it doesn't inevitably have to be terrible. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't think its foundations are flawed. I feel like it's one of those games where its foundations are very strong and the implementation suffers. Whereas a lot of games are kind of suffer the opposite in this series. When it comes to Forces, the idea on paper, a more serious tone, a self-insert character, which they kind of take advantage of it too in the narrative and the writing. They do try to make, like, as a child that is 8 years old, that scene where Sonic is encouraging you, well, it's cheesy for you as an adult playing a
man, I
Sonic the
would've
Hedgehog
loved that if
kids
I was a
game.
kid.
If you're a kid, that's the coolest thing ever. Sonic going, don't let your fear own you. Dude, anxiety is such a big thing right now. There's so many kids that suffer from it. That's important.
Sonic is running with me.
That
we
is-
can show the world what we can do.
And that's important. That's really important to a lot of people, and that is valid. And if for that reason alone, it is successful for people, I'm okay with that. I hope they build on the foundation, stress on the word build, so that veterans can enjoy it better. If they make a sequel to Forces, I think the first thing they should be thinking about is how they can make veterans of the series feel a little bit more accommodated. Forces is just, it screams a game that is for newer people. Again, unfortunately. Their desperation for more sales is showing in their game, and the brand is old, and it's done a lot of stuff, and it's had its ups and downs, and things are changing, and we don't know.
Yeah.
We're not certain what happens next, but I hope it includes us veterans, and if not, all we can do is try to keep up. What do you think, Sam?
I think going on Force's main story, I think that wouldn't be a bad idea at all. And I think that's actually still open to the possibilities because people are still wondering what happened at the end of Mania Plus with Robotnik getting sucked into the Phantom Ruby portal. And a lot of people made speculations that he is going to Forces, and we don't know what happened to Infinite, and all these questions are unanswered, so it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibilities or out of the realm of... it wouldn't be a bad idea to cover the gaps in the story that were left unsatisfied, and I think people would probably appreciate it. But at the same time, after hearing the feedback of fans, we probably wouldn't see that for a while because they probably want to try to fix what fans had problems with the original Forces. So I think it's not out of the realm of possibilities. I would like to see it. I think a lot of fans would also. Sam and Evan, do you think Nintendo should have a crack at a Sonic game? This is from BraveSoon7.
Who should have the shot at a Sonic game?
Do you think Nintendo should have a crack at a Sonic game?
I think it's very important that Sonic is connected to Sega. And as unfortunate as that may be to hear for a lot of people that are a little bit frustrated right now, Sonic is a part of Sega's history. It's like very tied to the brand. It was marketed so strongly as Sega's mascot that I feel like in honor to Sonic as an icon, that would be going against what he represents. However, the prospect of an entirely new dev team developing a Sonic game sounds so fresh, so exciting, and I'd like some new minds on the project. However, that's not entirely impossible with in-house teams at Sega, and that's why my answer would be I'd much rather another team within Sega to keep that legacy going takes on Sonic, because why not try that first?
Yeah, I think a lot of I've mentioned this a lot before, but how about get people from Nintendo to Sega?
I mean, there's a lot of bleed over in the game industry anyways, so I mean, that's probably going to happen. It's not just like black and white like everyone imagines, like just because it's from Nintendo, it's going to be like Mario Odyssey. Every dev has its own style.
So many different franchises with so many different gameplay styles. Yeah, they could definitely pull off a Sonic game. I know they can, but yeah, I agree with you. Sonic needs to be a Sega. Sonic should be with Sega. Not that it needs. It should be with Sega.
Can we just appreciate these playable end cards? Like, if this doesn't say what Sonic Colors is supposed to be about, it's bringing the focus back on gameplay. Literally, they were like, okay, how can we literally put every minute be gameplay focused? Like every single minute. Not every single minute is, but like the hub worlds, they're trying to be fun. Always fun, because at the time that was what we needed. When you look at Sonic Colors now, it's not what we need, so it doesn't seem desirable. So of course, when you look back at it, you're like, no, why would we praise colors? And that's where we get confusing in our conversations about the brand, because what worked before, of course, won't work now. And people get confused with what people talk about when they say Colors is a good game. People go, if that came out today, that would be terrible, or by today's standards, that's terrible, or blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that it is a bad game. For example, Sonic 1 is not as good as Sonic 2 now, or Sonic whatever. That could be an opinion, but for me, Sonic 2 is better. But that doesn't mean that Sonic 1 is not good. But that's how people think, right?
Yeah, at the time in 1991, Sonic 1 was like breaking the formula of what we've seen in gaming. So yeah, I understand like wholeheartedly. Yeah, Sega needs to adapt to today's needs and what they want. So with that being said, I expect a Sonic Battle Royale within the future very soon. Man. Anyway, so let's see if we could get another question in from the chat, 'cause I feel like
you're doing a really great job grabbing questions. I just want to say that, Sam. Thank you so much.
No problem, man. Thank you.
Silver slash
no problem. Silver/Nick with another question. Says, Sam and Evan, do you think that the IDW Sonic Comics lead and hype up to the next future Sonic game? Oh man, God, people are going to really question my wonder if I really am a Sonic fan. I don't read the comics.
What? That is totally okay. To be honest, I fell off, and I've been with the series like since the beginning. It got a little crazy. It got a little crazy, and to some people's detriment, and to some people's pleasure. I don't blame you though. I really don't.
Yeah. So I wouldn't know if they are. I don't think they really ever have done that before. That would actually, to be fair, okay, full honestly, I think that would be a terrible idea, because I feel like not enough people read the comics to get, for the general audience to get where the game would be starting off. And people would probably be very confused narrative-wise as to what's happening.
So how do you feel if the games just kind of bridged the story's narrative? So the game would pretend that the comics don't even exist, but the comics would kind of have a head start on what narrative comes next. So they fill you in, but they also cover the game's narrative. It's just they exist kind of they help each other. That's kind of what I thought would be the best way to go about it. How do you feel about that?
I think that could work, because don't correct me if I'm wrong. The comics are very character based. It's not all about Sonic, right? There's multiple characters in the comics. They do multiple things. Like, I'm correct about that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that would work. Introduce the characters, kind of catch us up to speed on what they are, what they do, and the feel or the tone of the comics. The comics and the Sonic series are usually a darker tone, if I'm not mistaken, and probably more. I think I hear it a lot that more they have a better narrative than most Sonic games nowadays. So I would be down for that, as long as they don't lose anybody narratively wise as to what's happening. I would be down for it.
I honestly feel like I like the messages Sonic Team tries to do. I feel like it's jumping the gun to say that Sonic Team is incapable of writing a story. What I think is happening is that they've always had a really hard time localizing Sonic's stories for Western audiences, and the localizers have been probably all over the place. So what we as a Western audience, which is of course the dominant consumers of Sonic the Hedgehog products, it comes to us in a mixed way. It's lost in translation. I feel like every single true Japanese translation of the script, just very like blunt translation, direct translation, sorry, I always feel like I can understand the nuances in the art of the narrative way more, and it gets muddied with localizers trying to make it relatable, or you know what I mean, like hashtag relatable and stuff.
Yeah, I think we can all agree, whoever does the localization, Sega, they have been doing a bad, not even gonna say decent, they've been doing a bad job recently, especially with Forces. A lot of people said like the whole Forces story is completely different when it comes to the Japanese script. And when you look at the Japanese script, it's like all these problems people had, Sonic being tortured, Tails losing it, are not on the script in the Japanese thing. So now here comes the question, because you mentioned it. We are the main consumers for Sonic the Hedgehog when it comes to their sales, correct? So
As far as I know.
Why is the narrative being written in Japanese then being translated to us?
Well, because it comes from Sonic Team, the people who created it, which I agree.
True.
It should come from them.
Shouldn't it be the opposite, though? Should they have Sega of America working on that and then having it translated for them? Or better yet,
I don't know. I feel like there just needs to be a stronger middleman and a much bigger focus on making sure that everything that's in the original Japanese script comes across. Similar to what...
There should not be two different stories happening based on a language barrier. There should not.
Also,
it should be the same narrative for everybody.
Also, Matt wants you to explain how the physics of Sonic on a bike would work. I feel like that's very important.
Matt,
we need to get into that.
I am so happy you decided to ask me that. Well, sit down, fella. Let me tell you something. Well, Sonic would be sitting on a bike, and he would be moving the pedals at a very fast pace. At that point, let's get real here, because we want to talk physics. The chains of the bike and the metal using to hold the bike would probably be melting instantly because of the velocity and speed of Sonic's feet, so he probably wouldn't really go anywhere.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
happy you asked that.
Are you a Sonic Theory channel? How'd you do that?
Well, I'm...
You should do a collab with the Sega Scourge, man. Also, some people wanted us to talk about the Sonic movie. Real quick. I see like a lot of great suggestions for topics, and we're not going to get through them all, but we should try our best to just like skim through them all.
Movie.
What do you think?
I am excited for this movie, and a lot of people are like, it's going to bomb. I don't care. I love the idea of Jim Carrey being Eggman. I want to see this happen. I'm excited as all heck for this movie.
Heck. Nice soft heck.
I'm trying my best. I'm genuinely excited seeing what quote unquote Hollywood will do with Sonic. I'm gonna watch this movie for all the wrong reasons. I am just gonna accept whatever I see on screen. I'm not gonna be critical.
Why? You're gonna accept everything because you're just reveling in the joy of it.
Yes,
that's.
But I just
you know what?
That's
okay.
I will probably be the only person in the theater day one. Know what I'm more curious about is when I go to see the movie day one. How many people will be in the theater seats? I hope it's a full theater.
Honestly, if you go on release, which we will, it's gonna feel like it's full, and it probably will be on release. Sonic fans will go and see it on release. I feel like the bulk of the earnings from the Sonic movie will be from DVD sales. I don't think box office. It's not gonna be a box office blowout. Who is... sorry, I gotta grab their name. Sorry, I feel like it's only right if I plug you. Prism Black said, video games and movies never work. And while that is true in the past, and there's no reason currently existing for us to believe that the Sonic movie will be any exception to that rule, it's only a matter of time before they do. Do you know what I mean?
I will say this. Sonic is good at firsts. You know what I mean? Sonic is pretty good at like doing things first. Sonic was the first to bring a non-blocky. I'm sorry, you said hold on.
What? I did?
No, I'm sorry. I thought you said like hold on for a second.
No, I just said it was interesting. That's all.
Oh yeah. So Sonic is good at first. I think he was good at like moving the formula from gaming from blocky to more physics-based, curvy-based. Who says Sonic can't be the first video game movie to just kill it?
I mean, here's hoping. Here's hoping.
Kind of, yeah. People already like Wreck-It Ralph. I did too. I wish they experimented more because I feel like didn't they stay in one place for like half the movie? So like but being the first video game character to be solely about one character and Evan, pay attention to the game.
I look at the chat for 1 second, and of course I just go careening into the purple liquid and die. I was like, I'm on rails. It's fine. My knowledge as a Sonic fan On rails,
That's why
I'm
they
safe.
make the linear sections. So look at the. It all makes sense. Sega just cares about us.
The streaming.
Come
They're
on
yeah.
now.
It's all
It's
for the streamers. All for
But-
us.
But yeah, Sonic is good at first. Who says it can't happen? I'm not gonna think that way though. I want to have a good time. Being this is Sonic's first real movie, I'm gonna enjoy this no matter how horrible it might turn out. I am going to love it to death until it grows on me and then I learn to hate it. But
So-
I'm sure it might be good. Who knows?
For me,
Who
Jim
knows?
Carrey is a big part of why I'm almost
Yeah,
absolutely
that's
certain that I will
Trump
enjoy it.
card,
If it's and Jim Carrey, all of his movies haven't been flawless, of course. He's not exempt from criticism or anything like that. However, he is literally my childhood hero, and it's a movie about my childhood hero with my childhood hero. Sorry, bias is in full gear. You don't got to worry about me being upset. I'll be biased. You take my opinion for fact, you made a mistake, friend. Sorry.
When I think Jim Carrey, I think Ace Ventura, Bruce Wayne, but when I think evil Jim Carrey, I think Grinch, and when I think Grinch, I could just switch that character with Eggman. It could work. I think it could work. Having a goofy, evil Eggman with a weird walking side. Now, what I'm more interested in for the Sonic movie is how Eggman and Sonic will look.
Yeah.
How I'm interested with how Sonic will mesh with the CG, with being CG with the photorealistic areas. I'm interested in that, and I will also add this. I am so far from what we've heard about the movie, there being like a highway chase scene and Sonic running from the government.
I honestly feel like it's going to be Sonic
yeah.
X Episode 1, the
but
movie.
The thing is, I liked, yes, and the thing is, I really liked the first episode of Sonic X. I liked season
Me too.
1 of Sonic X, of him running from the police and him being this quote-unquote alien. People have no idea what he is. Police, the SWAT team, like going after them, them looking at Eggman as a terrorist, and they're like, they're spying on him. I kind of like that idea. I am interested in, and by the way, I'll let you go first because I want to add something later that kind of goes off the rails about the movie.
See, you know what? This is why I like being in the Sonic fan base. Some people get stressed out about these type of conversations.
Yeah.
I don't. For me, I feel like
I love it.
it's a very important moment to keep an open mind, listen to somebody else's opinion, and just really learn about how they think. And if you can find a common thread, even just one, it's worth it. And even if you don't, it's still worth it because you learn so much. It changed my outlook on life. The Sonic fandom made me who I am, and I have it to thank for literally everything. And that's just my story. You know what? Like, it made me who I was. I grew up in it. I got cringy videos on the internet. I had to learn some things. I had humbling experiences. There was moments where I made terrible mistakes, and I made content that I didn't want to make. But the community stuck with me, and I still have people, and I have the privilege of keeping that name for my entire journey. The cringy fan character I made, and mine was cringy. I'm not saying fan characters are cringy. My fan character was cringy. But that's the name. Mardik is the name of my fan character. And I have the privilege of keeping that name because the community has supported me. So my subjective experience is of course yielded a positive opinion on it because that's my story. That's my experience.
I still call you ridiculous sometimes in my head. It's like, oh no,
I will always be that.
I know you from back then.
I will never
I've
be
seen you
Tails'
guys-
channel. I'm filling in for Matt as far as I'm concerned. I'm doing Ryan a favor as far as I'm concerned. I'm helping my friends. I'm staying in touch with the fandom I love to stay invested in. I don't have it in me. I don't have the concept in me to bring Mardiculous back. Because I always like to bring something new to the table, and I don't have it. But it didn't feel right to have nothing consistent for people who followed me all this time and gave me the chance to stay. Also, there's so many questions to answer, and there was like one guy that was like super desperate about being heard, and I remember his icon for that very reason. So I'm gonna go find him from the past and answer his question.
If you want to, just tell me. I could look for you.
So I only remember it visually, so I have to scroll through it and just
go
pull it out. Daniel Smith. Not Daniel Smith, Daniel Martin, and he asked, so people's reaction on the Sonic's personality in the past few games have been split compared to older 3D games. So Evan and Sam, where do you two stand on Sonic's personality in the past few games? So yeah, how do you stand on Sonic's personality in the past few games, Sam?
I said this in my review. I liked Sonic's personality in Forces. I think they kind of nailed it. He really was a smart bleep. I like how he was. He really was kind of like that. How he used to
in
be.
Forces.
In Forces, he really was like, talking to Infinite for the, like, he was just like, want to go for a long romantic walk on the beach? What's the source of your power? Just kind of sneak that question.
I feel like the only problem with that, and I think this is just the part of the conversation that's missing. I just have a habit of doing that. Don't think this is my opinion, but the criticism of that is that the only reason that Sonic being overly confident is admirable is if he shows just a tiny 1% shred of vulnerability, so it's more admirable that he's putting on face to defend his friends. Like moments in Black Knight, the reason that people hold that game so highly narratively is because Sonic literally explains a piece of who he is, and Sonic's personality is part of his identity as a brand. It's what set him apart from Mario. It's part of his history. And when it becomes watered down witty quips, like insert witty quip here during the boss fight, Force is a little bit guilty of that. While I'm happy it's present in his personality, it needs to be accompanied with genuine stakes in the narrative. Otherwise, it doesn't feel earned. Sonic isn't admirable for being cocky alone. He's admirable for being cocky in moments where he shouldn't be.
Yeah, he needs to earn that, and I agree that he shouldn't be all about what I mentioned. It shouldn't be all about that. There should be times, but in terms of his characterization recently, not just in Forces, I've liked. We'll go classic because they're two different Sonics going on right now, and two completely different attitudes. Classic Sonic in Sonic Mini Adventures, I really liked how he was.
Very angry for the most part, and that's an element of Sonic that's been missing. I feel like Shadow kind of like a little bit kind of took that away from Sonic. You notice that right before Adventure 2, Sonic actually had like a kind of grumpy side. He got grumpy. We see it a little bit in early Sonic X, but he gets like grumpy, pouty, arms crossed, and that was removed the moment Shadow came in, and that makes sense because from a character, like from a narrative perspective, a writer's perspective, a designer's perspective, when you have two characters that look so similar, you want to find a way to make them as distinct as possible from each other. So of course, Shadow being implemented in the series kind of actually took that really charming element of his personality away. So I feel like that's where a lot of hate from Shadow kind of stems from. Subconsciously, I don't know if people are aware of it, but I love Shadow, but he was most effective in his first game when Sonic still had a shred of his grumpiness left, because then they were both grumpy at each other, and it was so fun. But now Shadow's grumpy for seemingly no reason, because I thought he left his past behind him, and Sonic is just watered down to quips that are insert quip here. And while I'm happy they're present, because they were missing in the Jason era, in my opinion, they just weren't as frequent enough, I feel like I'm kind of part of the reason why we have too many quips, because but
now we're missing of what Jason had.
Which is the sincerity. The sincerity. We need both. Jason didn't have enough quips, but now we have too many. Sorry, I forgot that I could break these boxes. Oops. All right. Oh, I remember. This is a level I don't like, actually, because I wasn't ready for the level of platforming it throws at me to carefully balance on these tiny blocks. I just wasn't ready, and I feel like I'm not right now, even though I've owned the game for like a while.
Oh, Silver Nick, you're just trying. Silver Nick is asking questions, and I know he's asking questions that he's seen on my channel. It's Evan and Sam, are you too excited for the Mega Drive Mini, even if At Games is helping out on it?
Oh, I've seen your videos on this.
Know, huh? Dude, I was furious when I heard about the At Games thing, and it's because, man, how many times can you give a company a chance? They It's your mascot. How many chances can you give a company? I like the idea of Sega Genesis Mini. You just barely made that.
I know. That's why I was like, yes! I nailed it. First try, too. Nice.
I like the idea of the Sega Genesis Mini. It was Sega's golden age. It is the console that changed the format.
And I hope it's called Mega Drive Mini in America. I don't care that it's technically a Genesis in America. Mega Drive Mini sounds amazing. It's gonna fly off the shelves just because of the alliteration alone.
I hope they have both names because I like Genesis. But
you disagree with me, Sam?
I do, Evan.
You can't do that in this community, dude. You can't disagree, man. We're gonna have to fight to the death now. Sorry.
Ultimate.
Oh wait, what?
I shouldn't do that.
What was
I should not do that. I don't know. I don't play Smash. What am I doing?
It's okay. I think I forget how to play. Last time I played against Twip, I didn't forward smash once, and I didn't play him just once. Like, I know when I tell a story, it sounds like we played like one game and whatever. I got busy. No, we played for like an hour and a half. We played like a few games, and I just wasn't. And there was an archive, and I watched it, and I was like, why did I lose? What was going on? Like, I used to be competitive, so I have a loose knowledge of competitive play, but it's not. Wow, I just went flying.
You know what's
anyway,
funny is I never talked to Twip or Premi either. Like,
never?
Videos. I've only talked. They messaged them. Yeah, I've never talked to them, and it's like kind of like it's kind of weird when you bring them up. It's like oh yeah, I know that. Oh wait, for me, it should like people.
They had never spoken to you.
No, not yet.
I wonder why.
A lot of people don't know that, and a lot of people think like it's like yeah, I like the content. Never talked to them, but yeah, I like them.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I didn't know you guys didn't know each other.
Why
don't they reach out to you?
We have private messages. Well, to be fair, I don't think I think I've only reached a point where I've been semi-noticed until recently.
It's semi-noticed?
In the community.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I've seen you around for a while, actually. Maybe I'm just like on YouTube like way too much.
It kind of just like it really depends on
what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Do you know do you see what I'm doing right now? Like, what am I supposed to do? Oh, just hold forward. The answer to all Sonic problems. Okay, continue.
Oh, you're not lying.
Got a problem in Sonic community? You know what? Every argument we should just on Twitter we should comment. Just hold forward, man. It's fine. Hold forward. Yo, that's actually like really symbolic of life, man. Just keep moving forward. Just hold forward, man. Hold right to win. Guys,
and keep
hold right to win, everyone. You got it. Just hold right. You're good.
Hashtag hold right. Mr. Sonic Fan 24 says, Sam and Evan, thoughts on the Azuka hate? Oh, okay.
That's not fair. It's not fair at all.
It's not fair. Because one person can only do so much. It depends. It really comes down to the people making. It really comes down to the people who are designing the game themselves. Those people, I think, when it comes to forces, for example, level design is probably the biggest fault in that game.
Well, there's also there's tons and tons and millions of factors that go into what makes a game good. And yeah, Azuka is the guy that signed up for the job of the person who would take the hate for the brand's failure. Yes. And okay, but, if that's what you want to do. But I'm not entirely confident that the series' flaws are entirely the creators of the series' fault.
It's not.
To be honest.
If you want to use Izuka as a punching bag, my message to you is to open your eyes, grow up a little, and realize that, and you know deep down inside, if you think that one person is responsible for a multi-million-dollar game being flawed, you are very mistaken. It comes down to the entirety of the game designs, the narrative, the people writing it. It comes down to the whole shebang. And
you know, it's gonna be so hilarious when this is a realization to some people. Not everyone's gonna agree with me. Obviously, I'm willing to accept that. But the realization that I had recently is Sonic's fatal mistake that is still kicking him today was that he had the balls to criticize Mario, and he will forever suffer. He will forever suffer by being compared to the greatest video game character of all time, and the expectations on a rival for the greatest video game character of all time to many people is that he is forever cursed to be being held to a standard that is unrealistic for the company tasked with providing the game that people expect. And it sounds like everything I say is expect less, but it's more remember what's happening. Remember where we are. Try to help in ways that will help the problem, as opposed to just throwing hate in the direction of your displeasure. There's a problem. You can help by making your own content, coming up with new concepts like Sage. There are game devs everywhere, all around the world, fans putting their own voice into the Sonic community with their own design ideas. There are Sonic fans getting hired by Sega.
Yes.
We can do things about it.
We're at a point now, I think more than ever, where the fans are so influential on the direction of Sonic. Never before has the fans have so much power to what becomes of Sonic. Sega, though people say they don't listen, Sega really does take a while to. You fell off. Sorry, I started to laugh.
Yeah,
you gotta
that's
get
bad.
over it. That's even worse.
Yeah.
I think yes, fans more than ever have more power than I think ever. Sega is hiring fans, or they showed that with Mania, and people said it unanimously. Do what you did for Mania with 3D Sonic, and and there's no way they didn't notice that is what made Mania successful, is because they knew that the fans know what the fans want. The best people to know what the series should be is the fans. So
it's hard to even say that, to be honest, because what I was suggesting earlier is that there is an ideal Sonic game that Sonic fans do deserve, because Sonic used to be on top. And to be on top of literally an entire medium video game, of course, arguably, it was smaller back then. It's much bigger now, so the chances of Sonic reclaiming that title are very low. Just the realization of that Sonic will not ever reach the top of gaming. He is a historical icon of gaming past, and he deserves a lot of hype for that. But not the level of hype like he's the greatest video game of all time.
Yeah, and you can only push nostalgia so far before you lose the people that you were trying to target with that nostalgia. Sonic, admittedly, does focus a lot on nostalgia and being that series that's like, remember this is your reward for being with us for this long. But that only works for so long, and eventually, unless they find some sort of revelation in terms of Sonic games and being something that is so fun and so amazing that could reach a whole bunch of new people, and it's on the news everywhere that get this game. It's like the Spider-Man game now. If we could get a Sonic game to do that, which we kind of did with Mania,
I feel like no one would have a problem.
Yeah,
I feel like that's what people expect, and that's the only reason I sound like someone who doesn't like Sonic very much, but I feel like I just like it. I feel like I like it for arguably the wrong reasons, but my own reasons are mine. And I like the brand. I love discussing every single really unique thing the series has tried to stay relevant, because it's being held at such a high standard. Sonic is in such a unique scenario, not just because he's a fast platformer, which literally contradicts the foundations of that gameplay style. To be a quick platformer is hard. That is a challenge to program.
That is.
It's not easy to do that. And double that with the fact that he's being held to the standard of Mario, which will always objectively have an insanely higher budget. It's a huge challenge. I don't ignore that challenge. I feel like a lot of people do, and it just makes the conversation feel misinformed. All I would need is just a greater awareness of the appreciation of how hard this task is, that this team is tasked with such a huge task to make a Sonic game. It's not easy, and it's so easy to say, oh, blank game development team that does blank game so well can make a Sonic game perfect. Let's just give it to Nintendo. I honestly don't think it's that easy. We have brilliant people who are literally, they work in the game industry already, make their own side projects for Sonic, and it still doesn't exist. It is not an easy thing, and until that gameplay style comes out where everyone just agrees this is the gameplay style, this is 100% the 3D gameplay style that everyone likes for the mass majority of people, because there's always going to be an exception, but the mass majority of people enjoy one gameplay style. Until that exists, I feel like that is the reality of the situation.
We'll always be split too.
That is a huge task to create something that all of us will like because of the variety of things that have existed. I don't know.
So people will usually argue that middleman you're talking about is the adventure formula, like that key to play.
The localization of a script.
What?
The localization of a script, the middleman.
No, not the script. I'm talking about the gameplay style you're talking about, where we could all agree that this should be Sonic.
Right. Oh, you're saying for a lot of people it's adventure?
Yeah, that's what a lot of people will argue, that adventure is the not too fast but not too slow, where you could control him at full speed and still feel like Sonic while using his momentum.
I would agree that for veterans that is the middle, but the part that people are forgetting. So this is what everyone's calculating. My two hands right here. These are all the veterans. The huge part we're not talking about is the people I mentioned earlier. The really casual people that mainly play mobile games where gameplay is very streamlined. And that is a huge market. And the reality of the situation is that is something they have to think about if they want to go on as a video game series. So while adventure gameplay style is the ideal thing for every veteran, we're probably going to get something that's a little bit like that, but not exactly what you expect as a veteran.
Yes. What I would say about the gameplay style, because you mentioned until we find that, I would say that Sega probably as the boost formula. I feel like the boost formula, people are gonna hate me when I say this. I think the boost formula was a band-aid. It was a bandage. It was a bandage to the problem. It wasn't a fix, and I think it was a temporary fix. And I think they could have built on the boost formula, but they never really did it.
Yeah, they should have built on top of it. I really feel like they should have built it on top.
Yeah, imagine, and I mentioned this in the review, imagine designing a hallway for months for a video game. Make it look as beautiful as possible, get the shadows in there, make it look great. Only for Sonic to boost through that section in less than a second.
But for a lot of people, like, it's so interesting where Forces falls, because it's kind of a handheld game too. It's lower budget. It probably took the dev slot of the 3DS titles they've been making yearly, so it took that budget size. And what is known as a handheld title and a main console title, as we get consoles that are like the Switch, those two lines, those two separate types of games we know so well, that line's getting blurred, and we're getting games like Forces where it looks like it's a console game, but is it? I feel like it was built. It was built for Switch first, is what I'm suggesting, and it had the handheld game that would inevitably come out per that quarter of the business year. This is all hypothetical, of course. I don't know what I'm talking about, and I glitched, and I'm aware of this glitch.
And hear me out. A lot of people mentioned this before, and I promise we'll take more questions from the chat soon. Sorry, we're just going off our minds here. But what did you glitch again?
This is just because it's an emulator. This is what I get. This is just Sega telling me that even though I've purchased the game, I can't have this emulator. Oh no, I got it. I'm good. We're good. We move on.
Okay.
That's the only glitch I'm aware of because of this. I do own the game.
I like kind of lost my train.
Oh, man. I was very distracted by the whole glitch thing because I knew that people would want me to react to that. If I played it off like nothing was happening, it'd be really weird.
So good to say. Hold on, it's on tip of my tongue. Let me think about it. Pineapple.
You're trying to say random words to remind yourself? Pineapple on pizza? That's the question. I actually don't have a problem with it, but when I'm in the mood for pizza, I don't think of pineapples on pizza. I often go, when I'm like in that mood where I'm like, I really don't know what I want to eat. Like, when I'm in that mood where like I ask Lord, what do you want to eat? What do you want to eat? Like, and we just go back and forth. I don't know. What do you want to eat? I don't know. What do you want to eat? When I'm in that mood, pineapple pizza is the answer for people like me. It's weird, and it's
going to fight you in Smash.
It's weird, but it's something I can still eat that is really different. So when I'm feeling like strange.
I agree that I can eat it, but I agree like me and two shouldn't mesh together like this. Anyways, let's go back.
But it goes well with ham. That's why it's not supposed to be going well with.
I love ham on pizza. I'll say it. Oh my god.
No, but I meant ham and pineapple. It goes well with the ham on the pizza.
God. We're making me hungry. Let's take questions from the chat. What was sorry, Nick. I keep taking your questions. Is there anybody else in the chat? Okay, I will ask Nick's question. People start asking more questions. Silver Nick says, question for Evan. What was your reaction to the IGN Sonic rant in between 2016 and 2017? Okay, you say that question's for Evan, but I know you saw my rant on that. I know you did, Nick.
What was it? The IGN what?
The IGN rant. I think it was the Game Scoop he's talking about.
What, where they'd say that we all want to screw Big the Cat? And they were never good? Yeah, honestly, that symbolizes the end of bigger reviewing companies having a bias against Sonic for me. I feel like that was the moment where they overstepped the boundary and there was just enough people in the fandom and just enough normal people outside of the fandom synchronizing their opinions and being like, dude, that wasn't cool. Why'd you say that? Some people just laughed it off, of course, but there was a majority of people that were like, dude, really?
Yeah.
Hello?
If you look at the like to dislike ratio on that video, oof. That's all I gotta say, man. It was bad. Yeah, I think if you still type in IGN Sonic on YouTube, my video will still come up about that.
That's good.
Went off on them for what they. That was actually my first.
How dare you forsaken my Sonic?
So yeah. So how dare you? How did you know I wanted to do like I wanted to? But you know, yeah. It was a very childish video they done. To a point where it wasn't just hating the games, it was a point where they were attacking the fans, and that's when they crossed the line. Let's take another question from Vina Pille. How would you feel about a Sonic cinematic universe?
A Sonic cinematic universe? I mean, I don't know what other movies they'd make besides Sonic. You mean within like Sega games? I mean, maybe it'd be kind of cool if like all the Sega characters got up and they did like a Sonic and Sega All-Stars movie. I mean, maybe if it does really well. That sounds hilarious now because we all feel like a video game movie would never work because we've never seen one work. Yeah. But I mean, I don't want to jump the gun. I mean, hey, cinematic universes might become a trend.
Sonic movie breaks box office records.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe.
A second one. Who knows?
Maybe we're being painfully optimistic. Sure. Maybe we're in denial. Sure. Help me. We deserve this sliver of happiness. Please give this just to me. Let me have this. Okay, stop being so negative. Just let me have this moment. Anyway. Yeah, you know.
Oh,
maybe we could do a cinematic universe. I wouldn't say no to it if that's what you're asking. I don't have a problem with it.
Oh man. This is from Mecha Shadow. Evan, which game studio would you like to work on Sonic? For me, it's Platinum Studios.
Platinum Studios would be a lot of fun. I feel like they've done very diverse titles actually. I trust them. I really don't know who else I'd choose because I can't think off the top of my head like a dev team that has experience making anything that resembles Sonic. Like, I've seen a few indie games do something like Sonic, so maybe some indie devs would be fun. To just really have fresh minds. I don't know. No mainstream dev teams come to mind. So it's hard for me to say, but I would agree with Platinum Games. I'd be okay with it.
And I agree with you. I can't think of anyone on top of my head. And then at that point, it comes to mind. It's like, we bash on Sega so much for not getting it right, and then we can't think of anybody else that could try it. Which I think it's kind of funny in a way. It's like,
hilarious.
How could you not do this? It's so simple. They turn around. I don't know how anyone could do this.
I can't think of anyone else that actually can, so I guess good on you guys. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna drown for real.
This is from
No, I'm fine.
Super Cool. Don't drown.
I'm fine. I'm good.
Don't drown.
We good.
Super Cools M4 says, Sam, do you think that Sonic 4 is more for old or newer fans? Oh man, Sonic 4, I forgot that existed. Genuinely did forget that. I forgot that existed. Sonic 4, I mean, I would say that was targeting old fans because they really were trying to go off nostalgia because the game did not have its own identity at all. Like, at all. So neither did its episode 2, and you know, but yeah, I would say they were trying to target old fans, and I think that it's absolutely hilarious. I think it's cute.
Actually. I don't know if this is true, but I feel like, and I just feel like the proof is in the pudding when it comes to this, what I'm about to say. But I feel like Sonic Team was originally making Sonic 4 as a mobile title, as a cute little side project. Sega of America took the opportunity to take a big risk. Take a big risk and call it Sonic 4 since they were already developing
and that's my biggest problem with the game.
To boost their sales.
It's so childish to think. My biggest problem with that game is it was titled Sonic 4, and you're bringing it to a level that you absolutely need to take seriously. Imagine if Sonic 4 never happened, right? And today Sega comes out and says, we're making Sonic 4. People would lose their minds to that possibility. But now they've taken the name as if it was just any other thing that they could experiment with.
Hadron just said, like, quote unquote, a big risk. Like, I mean, a big risk in titling it Sonic 4.
Yeah, yes. And
that was like, and it wasn't worth it. That's what we're saying.
If the game was called Sonic's 2D Adventure, it probably would be pretty decent.
Or like Sonic Classic Memory,
how about Sonic
Nostalgia Jaunt. I don't know.
Nostalgia Jaunt. Sonic Advanced 4? What if they made an Advanced 4?
Sorry, what?
You know, what if they made an Advanced 4? A Sonic Advanced?
I mean, yeah, maybe. That would probably be a better title for that game.
Yeah.
But I would still want original environments, so I don't know.
It Sonic 4, and they dropped the ball on it big time.
I think it was Sega's, like, it was intended to be Sega's kind of answer to the new Super Mario Bros. In the early development, and then what am I supposed to do here? Am I supposed to already have rings? I can't press any button. It's a scripted section where I die.
I think you need to jump over his arm.
It's a script. Literally, it's scripted.
Oh, really?
This might be just emulator blues.
I think so, because I think you should be able to jump at that point, or...
I know what I have to disable to fix
go
it.
left. I think at the beginning...
No, Sam, I don't know if you understand. I literally cannot do... Like, I can control at the beginning of the level, back and forth, but as soon as I homing attack on that spring, I can't do...
Yeah, before the spring. I think go in the water and go to the far left. I think there's an extra life there, if I'm not mistaken.
I think... Oh, really? But
I think so.
Is there another way to go, though?
I don't know. I don't remember. I think that there was something hidden on the left.
Someone was saying go left, so there's probably something over here. Wait a minute. Is the entire level built, like, around the idea that you can't get by? There's no way.
No, there's no way.
There's no way. That's just a glitch.
That would be bad. That would be a really bad design. Oh wait, there's a
What am I doing? What am I doing? Why? I'm trying to go in the pipe, but I can't. I can't life, you know?
If you go back, I think there was another drill wisp. Let's see. I saw a question going off of the Sonic 4 thing real quick. Let me go because it was a good question. This is from JR the Mustached Marauder says, Evan and Sam, speaking of Sonic 4, do you think they should reboot Sonic 4 and give it to the Mania team? I wouldn't have a problem with that, because it still pisses me off to this day that they treated the name Sonic 4 to like trash. And if they could somehow make right of it, and kind of maybe make an episode 3 for it, or maybe something, then yeah, I'm all for it. But I'm also down with kind of just leaving that in the past and just moving on. Maybe just making Sonic 5, or just maybe just go without the numbers and just keep making quality Sonic games. That's, in the end of the day, that's what I care about.
Yeah, I feel like they can't. It's like maybe they could do Sonic 4 again, but I don't know if it's worth the risk. I think the name has been used, so Sonic 4 is Sonic 4. Premi's right. I know he's been like preaching it forever. It's not the spiritual sequel to the classic trilogy, because it is way too different. Mania is the obvious selection and the obvious game you'd recommend after somebody really enjoyed Sonic 3 and Knuckles and Sonic CD. You're gonna recommend Mania, not Sonic 4. But Sonic 4 is named Sonic 4, and we gotta live with that, and that's the way it's gonna stay.
And I think that's just, I think so. Now that I think about it, maybe just moving on would be probably the best choice. Not even making Sonic 5. Well,
oh yeah, no way.
Yeah, saying Sonic 5 even sounds like a bit iffy to me.
If anything, it would be Sonic 4 Episode 3 with Knuckles, but I feel like that ship has sailed.
So I actually kind of like the Sonic Mania title. Like, I like how that sounds. Just start making their own titles. You know, and not saying I'm not Sonic Mania 2, but I mean just new Sonic titles every time. 2D adventures or whatever adventures. I think that's a better way to go. This is from Mr. Sonic Fan 24, and he brings up something that I see a lot. What if Christian Whitehead made a 3D Sonic game?
See, there's no telling that will be perfect.
Well, the thing is, Christian makes 2D games. Like, if he was maybe giving direction to a team, I don't know. I really don't know his views on a 3D Sonic game. I don't even see the water. It's like you were just floating in midair there.
Oh, I think it's because I was above water just for a second. It's really hard to see the surface.
Yeah, but that's just that. I maybe, like, I get, like, he's a fan, so he understands kind of what we want, but in terms of 2D, if maybe we could get someone for 3D, like, known people, like, I would probably say, I don't know, who would you give it as a contender to maybe give the direction for 3D Sonic? Does anybody know anyone?
I feel like it's a similar question to, like, what dev team we'd give Sonic to. It's like,
oh, that reminds me of my question forever ago.
What was it?
Oh my god. Okay. It was about the making the formula. I think Sega needs to take a moment, like a 2-year gap, not make a game, focus on finding an engine that works for Sonic, play with the engines, come up with ideas, maybe work on the 3D Sonic Adventure formula, and because even the Adventure formula was never perfect, tweak it so we could build on the formula. Sega needs to do that. I feel like they're spending too little time experimenting with the engines, and that in turn makes any game they make have its flaws. And I think if they take time to make the engine, make your foundation before you start building, then I think that could fix a lot of the problems we experience with Sonic and find that middle ground.
I totally agree. Also, I really don't understand why people don't like the 2D sections, because in Sonic Colors, because I actually really enjoy the 2D parts that I'm playing right now. There is a lot of inputs I have to have. I feel like, where is it? I'm still going fast, and if I knew it better, I'd be going quicker. Is this not fast enough for people?
No,
and there was multiple options for me to go, and I don't know.
I think because the 3D sections are flawed, people are like, 2D sections are just their escape to stop making 3D sections. If they found a way to really focus and make 3D sections, more polished with the engine, then, because I think 3D sections are having a flaw, and people see the 2D sections as a way as an excuse for them to not worry about that. But if they try to work on the 3D sections and fix those and then put in 2D sections, I would not have a problem with that at all. I'm sure most people wouldn't either. And that's a mad Evan face right there.
It's exaggerated. It's my own version of clickbait. I mean, at least I don't lie to my viewers. I just make really dramatic facial expressions. That's my thing. Some people are good at clickbait. I'm good at making bad facial expressions.
We have something from Mike Antos that says, and I see this a lot too. I think Sega stopped caring about Sonic ages ago. They don't need Sonic to stay afloat financially, so they don't need to make Sonic good. That's what
I mean. There is less incentive for them. Absolutely, that is a fact. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's still their product, and it still makes them look bad, and it's still a big consumer base. So there are still high stakes for them. They still have incentive to produce a good game, just like they would any other game. It's got their name on it. There is no benefit for them releasing a title that does not do well.
Yes. And reputation means everything. So I will say that I think they care. I don't think they know. I think they're just leaving it in irresponsible hands to a point where maybe,
or it's just not the hands that fans find. It's not the hands that can deliver what the brand needs to sustain itself and what the fans need to stick around. So they're going to have a lot of turnaround in consumers, and they're going to have a lot of like angry consumers that get frustrated and leave, and some people stay. And
you can tell
that's how it goes.
Sega, and you can tell Sega cares because I mean, look at Mania Plus. They saw how well Mania did. They said, let's give them a little bit. Let's give them a little treat. Something they haven't seen in a while. You know, they do listen. They do care. I think they're just maybe quote unquote inexperienced. You gotta boost on that box there. Oh yeah,
I was trying to push the block. I thought I could. It looked similar to the ones I could.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I think. I think they care. They're just sometimes they're maybe. It's sad to say, but Sega's management always changes. I think they're inexperienced to know.
Well, it's also like we said earlier, right? It's a hard thing to do to make a Sonic game. It requires a lot of coordination. There are so many opinions because the Sonic brand is always changing. It's ever innovating in an attempt to stay relevant because it's got such high standards thrown upon it because it made its introduction into the world by roasting on a legend of gaming. And it went like, oh, we're better, and that will stay with them forever. And that's, you reap what you sow, and this is the situation they're in. And I'm aware of it. The standards are ridiculously high for Sonic, and that is justified, and fans are not wrong for that. So now they're tasked with this kind of paradox, the smaller budget, but the inevitable comparison to something that will always have a higher budget than it. So, I mean, I'm interested to see what they will change in the Sonic formula to rise to that challenge. And the coolest thing about Sonic is despite the lower budget, despite the hate, there are sometimes, very rarely, but sometimes he comes out on top still. And it very, very recently, too, this has happened. I don't know what to do with these boxes. I can push them. Okay, I'm good. Yeah, but that's what's exciting for me. At least that's how I see it. Maybe that's not the way you see it, but at least that helps you understand why I'm still here and I'm 25. You know what I mean? I can't turn away because it's so interesting to see what this underdog of gaming has to show the world. He will always be the underdog. I always get the stomp and boost buttons mixed up, and it kills me every single time. I don't play video games often enough, so my reflexes are weak. Trust me, I know what I should be doing to beat this game. My inputs. Anyway.
Yeah. So, yeah, I agree. And there was a question I saw a bit ago. I'm gonna go back up to it. Sorry, you guys' comments sometimes go really fast. Here we go. Cheesecake BG says, would you like to see more of a lore Sonic game, like plot to the story? Imagine a game where it takes place in Mobius and the exploring the world in a save the world type manner, of course, or something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to see returning locations. I want to see Tales' workshop again. I want to be rewarded for being a veteran, obviously, because I'm a veteran and I want to be catered to. And I feel like we're missing a lot of that. There's no excuse that we don't, like when we return to Sonic's world, quote unquote, according to Izuka, there's no excuse that we didn't see Tales' workshop. Why wasn't Tales at Tales' workshop with Omega? Why? Why? What? Because for people who don't know what Tales' workshop is from Sonic Adventure, they won't care where it's from. To model Tales' workshop, you already have it designed, so it saves you time. There's no con of using a locale we're familiar with. So where do things like that go? And why don't they show up is my question. I wonder what it is and who's making those kind of calls. Because there's obviously a reason. I'm not going to pretend and play dumb like that there's not serious amounts of thought put into every choice that goes into these games. But what intrigues me is, why was that the choice? What is the drawback?
Yeah.
Because if I could unlock the answer to that, I feel like I could understand why we are where we are. And I would love to be able to spread that message around to the community, because I feel like the community, more than anything, even more than the game they've all been waiting for, is explanations to things. We're seeing it a lot more with Aaron, where the door is beautifully way more open, and they do streams consistently. They're on a break right now, but like that open door has been so amazing to have. But I can't help but want more now that the floodgates have been open. You know
Honestly,
what I mean?
Aaron Weber has been such a key, character at Sonic Team to interact with the fans the way he has, more so than ever, to actually get involved in the community and to hear them out. And he says it all the time. I'll transfer your thoughts or whatever to the team. I'll transfer your ideas to the team. He even said it in the recent tweet about the Sonic new series, Sonic cartoon, leak, all that stuff happening. He says, we're happy with the success of Main Adventures, and I am sending your thoughts to the team. He's been a bridge that I think Sega definitely needed during the Shadow the Hedgehog in 06 era, when it sounded like they weren't listening at all anymore.
Well, I mean, Shadow the Hedgehog is the direct result of them listening to fans.
It really is. And by the way, let me make this clear. I liked Shadow the Hedgehog when I was a kid.
Because you were probably one of the kids that wrote in. Well, no, I'm just kidding.
Actually, no, it wasn't.
But you could have been.
It wasn't. I just liked it because I liked Heroes, and it played like Heroes. I liked it, and I don't know.
And Heroes did well. That's not, like, honestly, people are going to be surprised in the chat that you feel that way, but it shouldn't come as a surprise because Heroes did well. It is a strong concept.
I remember
the budget is there. It may not be your ideal Sonic game, and that's fine because there's a lot of reasons why it wouldn't be. Slippery controls, to mention one thing, but if you're willing to get through that to see what's underneath it, of course you're going to love it, because there's a lot to love there too. Dragon Gaming donated $1. Thanks, dude. He said no message, but thank you so much for the support. We really appreciate it. It helps us continue to do these streams every week, which, believe it or not, is a lot harder than it may seem, because as you know, my computer's about to fall apart, and I can't just I can't just not buy a computer now. There are people, there's this big burden waiting on me for being on Tails channel. No, we're obviously going to build it.
I recommend, I actually recommend something. If you want to do more streams, man, build a custom computer. I'll help you with that process.
Build a what? A custom? Oh, don't worry, Lords has got me covered. She's smart enough for the both of us when it comes to building a computer.
Oh, wait, I say that again?
My girlfriend Lords, or Edible Potatoes, that's on the streams, like, sometimes.
Yeah.
She's smart enough for the both of us when it comes to building computers, so...
Okay, that's good.
But, I mean, I might run it by you, just in case Lords is trying to pull a fast one on me. Maybe I'll run it by you to be like, hey, Sam, is everything alright under the hood? Are we good?
No, she recommended a bad graphics card.
No, she recommended... I don't know, I was going to say a Sonic game that I thought was bad. That's not appropriate. Come on, Evan, you're better than that. Come on.
Yeah, why would you talk about Sonic?
I don't know.
Like that? Come on.
What? Am I supposed to be able to make it to that part. Jeez.
We got a question from Super Cool's Cool's M4 says, "Hey Sam and Evan, Evan,
Sam and Evan, you said it a lot. I don't blame you.
Yeah, and by the way, let me say this real quick before I read the question. I want to apologize for having trouble. Like I had to go to the eye doctor today. I had a cut on my eye, so like sometimes looking at the screen gives me a little bit of pain. So sometimes I just kind of like look from the screen. So reading your questions sometimes kind of like I kind of have to look away for a second. So sorry. So back to the question. Hey Sam and Evan, if the Sonic movie was Sonic world history like Shadow Black Doom or Emerald backstory, would you like it? So, you're so shook.
Well, because I was like, I know what just happened, you know? Like I thought I was playing the game just fine. I was using the hover for as far as I could, and there was just another hover capsule really far away, and I'm like, I don't even know. Is there like a hover capsule I'm not aware of for some reason?
Oh man.
Hey, what was the question?
Yeah, back to your question. It was asking if the Sonic movie was more about Sonic world history, like Shadow, Black Doom, or Emerald backstory. I think that would be a horrible idea because even general Sonic fans probably have no idea who Emerald is.
Oh, but I love Emerald. He deserves it.
I love Emerald. Oh my gosh. Can I just say this? Emerald is probably the most underrated character in the series.
Sonic Battle as a narrative is just underappreciated. Yes, I agree. To be fair, it's because it's a handheld game and it's a fighting game on a handheld console with not a lot of buttons, so there's really not a lot of appeal. So I'm not surprised that not a lot of people picked it up. But if you haven't played it, please watch a playthrough. Maybe somebody who can be entertaining enough to get you through all the way through it. Maybe one day I'll do a playthrough on it, just so you can all experience it, because it feels like an example of a really, really, really well localized Sonic Team story, which, yes, it was written by Sonic Team, and yes, the ideas presented in Sonic Battle does feel quite a lot like what we got in Forces before localization. So it's kind of interesting to be in the know of like what Sonic Team's trying to do with Sonic narratively, just to really appreciate the kind of things they had before that they kind of stripped away in recent years.
When I played Sonic Advance 3 when I was a kid, I didn't play Sonic Battle. I didn't want to. For some reason, I didn't get it. I don't know
That's
why.
fair. That's fine.
But I played all the advanced games, and I loved them for what they were, and it wasn't until I watched a Sonic Battle playthrough years ago, and I watched it in its entirety. It was like no commentary video, read up on it, and then when I looked back at the Advance 3, that game changed the narrative. I'm like, that game's story, like the ending of that story hit me so much harder after knowing what happened in Sonic Battle.
It's great because it added.
I thought it was Metal Sonic 2.0 when I was a kid. No,
and like, it added this like really cool element to the advanced games before, because the advanced games just kind of felt like a modern version of classic games, but Battle was very much written like SA2, so you all of a sudden get these two really interesting worlds fused together, and it feels like a classic style gameplay game has an adventure story, and it makes me happy because I'm from both of those eras, I guess, and it fills me with joy. Oh no, I'm dead. That was not my fault. That was just kind of poopy.
The sky's blue, isn't it?
Yeah, that's just how it is.
Oh man, people on Twitter are just going to.
I don't know, man. Just everyone have an open mind. I don't know. I don't know. It's not. No one's attacking you if they don't agree with you. Sorry, go for it.
Sorry. Tio Sonic says, Sam and Evan, what was your first Sonic game? My first Sonic game was Sonic 2 on Sega Genesis, literally when I was a baby.
Mine was Sonic 2 on the Game Gear.
Whoa! Look
Why?
at that.
Why? So I like to increase the amount of distance I can travel with the hover. I know I have to use the light dash. So maybe it's just like going to be a really close call. Maybe it's an emulator glitch. I bought the game. I have the game. I'm going to show... You know what? I'm going to show you guys my copy of the game at the end of the stream, just to really hit it home that I own the game. and I'll show you my Wii U, in which I would be playing on it if I had a capture card. But I don't want to buy it because why would I do that when I spend all that money on a computer that can emulate games for the convenience of being able to stream them? I already spent the money, man.
Why get a capture card when I have OBS?
Like, yeah, like what? And also, capture cards are finicky as heck. I don't want to pay for that experience. Why?
Yeah. Now there's something I actually wanted to add to my quote-unquote first Sonic game. It's kind of an interesting way of how I became a quote-unquote Sonic fan, and it's because it's solely because of my sisters. I grew up with 3 sisters. They're all older than me, and the reason why is because I was born in 1997. They owned a Sega Genesis all through their life, and that kind of just I literally liked Sonic because of, oh, you were so close.
That was like I just needed to press the button, and I was like, oh, where's the button? Like I was just like freaked out. I was like, ah!
But yeah, but because of them is the reason I became a Sonic fan. Because when I was literally a baby, they used to give me a controller because I used to cry because I wanted to play. Obviously, I was a baby, so I didn't know how, so they would give me an unplugged controller to make me think I was playing, and I would stop crying. But I would watch them play Sonic all the time as a kid. Like, literally, like, I remember burning in my memory trying to learn how to, like, sit crisscross applesauce and looking at the screen and seeing Sonic 2 play. No!
You know what, that's, like,
no,
we're gonna take 3 more questions. I've played Colors for as long as I can today.
Yeah,
I'm sweating. I don't know why. It's just Sonic. I need to just relax. This has been a longer stream than we're used to, though. So, you know, it's late.
Yeah.
So we'll take 3 more questions. I can actually help read them this time. You give your eyes a break. I know they're hurting. So, guys, ask some questions for Sam and myself, and we'll answer 3 more. And obviously, we won't be able to get to everybody, so I'm sorry in advance. If we miss you, please try again. I will
send your
eventually
hate mail to
notice you.
Evan, because I have no more.
I can tell. I can see when people are returning viewers, and I can see if you don't, as long as you don't change your name and change your display picture, I can give you the respect you deserve, because I'll go, hey, I remember that person. They've been around like a lot. I should probably reach out to them. But it's like, if it's randos, I don't recognize it, so it doesn't pop at me, you know. Sel Buad says, thoughts on the Forces soundtrack. What do you think, Sam?
Oh, you know, at first I thought it was pretty mediocre, not gonna lie. I loved the custom characters, all his the themes of the custom characters. I loved the lyrics in those levels. I loved Infinite's main theme. I love Fist Bump. But a lot of Modern Sonic stages and classic Modern Sonic stages, I was kind of mixed on. Over time, I've learned to like Modern Sonic music for what it was. Evan, what's that face? For what it was, and I learned to like it. But I will say, classic Sonic's music I still don't really enjoy, and I still think the worst Sonic theme known to man is the classic theme of Supersonic. The Supersonic classic theme for Forces, I still think that's the worst theme known to man in some time. Right up there with Sonic Chronicles. Not even gonna lie, I did not like that theme at all. But okay, Evan.
Yeah, Sonic Forces, in terms of soundtrack, is a mixed bag for me. It has some of my favorite songs, and it has, but it's weird because saying a mixed bag, I don't want anyone to make that, because I've said mixed bag with other games, and people have used the terminology mixed bag with other games, meaning that one song's bad, one song is good. Forces uniquely has the issue of where I'll like the melody of a song very much, like more than I've ever liked a melody in a Sonic song, like to that point. Well, also in the same song, having instruments that are just not what my ear wants to hear. Like, for example, what we're listening to right now, the Aquarium Park like map music is like, it's nice to listen to, and something about Forces, the synths that they used, I agree. There's something about them that doesn't sit right with the ear, and I don't know if it's because it's like a Japanese and American sound mending weird, but I would say I like a solid 70% of the songs a lot, but some of them are a little bit too ear grating for me personally.
I was talking to Mr. Is it Pasquale? I always mess it. Is it Pasquale or
Pasquale, you got it right the first
Okay,
time.
Pasquale.
And not many people do,
good.
so give yourself a round of
Okay.
applause for that.
All right. Mr. Pasquale, I was talking to him a while ago. Shout out to him, by the way. I love him. Me and him were talking about the stint in forces, and I said it too. That's what I didn't like at first, and I still kind of don't though. Like, there's a specific thing that's like da 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 they use in almost in every single track in forces, and even for Shadows. Was it trying to for the jungle theme from SA2. I'm like drawing a blank.
White Jungle?
White Jungle, yeah, that theme that they put in Forces, they added that synth to it, that electronic duh thing every second. It's like, who did that? Like, that's not what, like, they didn't make it better.
I have a feeling it's a cultural thing, because Otani mentioned that he was going for a perfect blend between American sounds and American sounds, and I feel like what we're experiencing is kind of culture shock. It's like, because music is very, very different in Japan than it is here. Has anybody else
noticed they make? Yeah, sorry for interrupting, but
no, that's fine.
That anybody else knows that they make mistakes, quote unquote mistakes, when they try to appeal to the Western audience? Has anybody else noticed that? Like, in most titles, when they say, "Oh, that's because they tried to appeal to a Western audience," I feel like that comes up a lot. Like, I think they need to stop trying to appeal to us and understand that we're not any different than any other fans from any other part of the world. As long as I could understand what the characters are saying, just give us something that is tightly written, you know?
We just want like a genuine like gaming experience. If it's gonna be narratives like Adventure 1 and 2 where it's like very anime, I think fans are okay with that. And I think that's what I think in 06, after in the reception of Sonic 06, they reeled back really far, and I think they reeled back a little too far, and they lost a lot of things that made Sonic who he is, part of his identity, and his identity became rooted in the very anime-esque narrative. It became part of his identity, and that's been stripped in favor of a more Americanized cartoon type of narrative. And Sonic's more laid-back demeanor in general, even in the animations. And I think that's to Sonic's detriment, only in terms of his identity, his brand identity. And that's where we get another shard of a divided fan base. So now there's going to be a whole section of people who liked the modern take on Sonic, where he's more reserved, laid back, and he makes quips most of the time. Some, brotherly moments with Tails, so I'm not going to dismiss those. There are some kind of cute moments and colors that I enjoy with Sonic and Tails. They're very rare, but it's the American cartoon way of doing it, where they very lightly touch on sensitive subjects, and every so often they cross the line and it becomes known as cringy, like in Lost World, where they pushed a little too far because fans asked for more serious narrative, and they pushed it and swelled it in a strange area, so it felt a little bit more like a cyst tacked on to an otherwise mediocre narrative, and there was just this random like big bruise on the narrative of like the moment they tried to be serious, and it just didn't feel right, because it was only one element of what we wanted in a serious story. The art direction needs to reflect the grandiose scale of the narrative. Like in SA2, everything about the advertisement for that game is like the moon explodes, the Earth is behind Sonic. The sheer scale of the universe is displayed in the background of the cover art. And it's scale, and that is tied into the scale of the narrative. The entire world is at risk. It's about good and evil. It's split down the middle. One side is a little bit red, the other side is a little bit blue. Like, it's all tied into one nice package. Colors, you see the front cover, and it's got Sonic in a playground with all these like power-ups displayed. Sonic smiling, he's dashing forward. It looks exciting, fun. It shows you all these abilities, so it makes you really feel like you're getting a big experience. All of a sudden, the difference between those two cover arts, it becomes really notable what the priorities are. Gaming has changed. All of a sudden, gaming is more competitive. There's more games out there. You need to communicate really quickly to your audience. These are the things that are going on. This is the tone of the game. You're going to have fun. It's big, it's bouncy, it's colorful. Sonic is happy. He's going fast. He's a laser beam. He's in a theme park. There's all these things that play into it now. And it's way more complicated than it was back then. I feel like fans would respond really well to more of the SA2 things, where it's like, no, don't shy away from your narrative. Include your narrative in the marketing on the box art. Make the narrative part of what you're marketing to your audience again. And that's where forces hurt people, because forces implied to us, they did that. They advertised narrative. They showed Shadow turning on Sonic. They made that choice to make us believe, why is Shadow turning against Sonic? Find out in the full game. Why is Chaos back? Find out in the full game. And they said that. And did we
entered in a cutscene.
And did we find out? We didn't. And that is where the anger comes from.
The Chaos one is the one that really burned me, because I was really excited for that one.
Yeah, and I mean, we arguably got answers, but those are objectively not satisfying answers for people who want a narrative. And I feel like everyone can agree with that.
It was just a check mark they were going with. It's like, okay, we did that, check mark. Like, no, like, it's not just like really like care about the story you're telling, you know?
Yeah. Let's grab another question.
Yeah, that was question 1. 20 minutes late. Sorry.
It's fine. I know when I said 3, I was expecting them to be like every other question we answered. Evan and Sam, what do you think about people having a little argument of liking more on the classic side or the modern side? I think what Roger's trying to say, Roger that soldier, is what do you think about the arguments between classic fans and modern fans? What do you think, Sam? Excuse me.
I think those arguments get pretty, like Sonic or modern Sonic versus classic Sonic. I think they get pretty petty, but at the same time, I get where modern Sonic fans are coming from now, saying like, "Where's our love? We feel so left out with everything going on. We have Sonic Mania, Sonic Mania Plus, Sonic Mania Adventures. You know, we had classic Sonic and Forces. Like, where's the modern Sonic love? Where's all this?" And I do get where they're coming from when they feel like they're left out. And you know, they have a right to, I guess, be angry, but I feel like Sega put themselves in a position where now they got to satisfy 2 fans in the same series. And I think they're at a point now where they're in a position where they can satisfy both. We're having the Mania team come out with a new game every couple of years and have Sonic Team focus on 3D Sonic, where now Sonic Team doesn't have to focus on classic games. I think now we're in a position where they can satisfy both fans, and hopefully they'll do that.
I hope so too.
Yes, and when it comes to fans, you know, having some sort of argument with classic Sonic versus modern Sonic, there's no comparison. They're 2 completely different entities. They play completely different, and you just can't really compare them that well. So I would say enjoy them for their own right. If you don't like one, it's all right.
I agree. To add, it's not surprising that there are arguments between these 2 groups. It's not surprising that modern fans feel not catered to. Modern fans, my recommendation from somebody who's been in the fan base from literally the beginning and have made mistakes, all I can do is try to give advice just to make your overall happiness and enjoyment in the fan base a better experience. I would recommend, I forgot what I was going to recommend after explaining how important it was and explaining that I wasn't trying to come off like an egotistical jerk. Wait, what? No. So many things I say are so similar that it's very easy to like replace the answer with the wrong thing. Because everything I say is just like, yeah, you know, just you're gonna be okay. Like painfully positive. Basically, what I recommend is, oh, I remember now. Perfect. Okay. I didn't want to make up an answer. It didn't feel right. Okay. So, what I recommend is that, oh crap, I forgot again. In hyping it up. Wait, what is it? Oh, yes. Be careful of coming off entitled. As a classic fan who chipped away at the idea of a true successor to Sonic 3 and Knuckles. As somebody who was part of that movement that brought Mania, be careful of coming off as entitled, like you feel like you deserve your game. Because they don't have to cater to you, and appreciate it when it comes your way. And try to engage in a discussion with the company as opposed to coming off as entitled, because I think the reason that classic fans had to wait so long for their perfect game was because that door wasn't open like it is now with Aaron.
Yes.
We have that door now. Take advantage of it. Discuss. Ask for what you want. Be polite about it. Nobody wants to give a whiny baby that's kicking everything around in the house, having a tantrum. No one wants to give that person what they want. And that is true at a fundamental level. And no one's going to be rooting for you. And for the longest time, nobody was rooting for Sonic fans. Because we were, the classic fans, we were stigmatized as people who were never satisfied unless it had black eyes, unless the physics were spot on. Don't make that mistake like we did. Take advantage of the privileges you have now as modern fans. Modern fans. We're classic fans. We had our chance. We eventually got our victory. We got our W. It took way too long. Be better. Be better. Push the fandom forward. And I gotta say, I'm seeing a lot of evidence that the same mistakes are happening again, which is why I'm being so assertive in my redirections of people, to try not to let the same thing happen again. Of course, I'm well aware that I cannot control this. I can't control what people do. Just be aware that this has happened. And maybe make a different choice. Anything but the same choice, please. Exercise your right to a choice, of course. But it would be so sad to see it be the same choice that classic fans made so long ago.
Yes.
Let's grab one more question.
Take audio clip that and send it to everywhere. Anyways. Who has a question?
Oh, I can grab one. There's a few. There's somebody asking a lot about the orchestrated parts of this Forza soundtrack. Now, while I mean, maybe we can really quickly touch on it, but it doesn't count as a question because we kind of already touched on the soundtrack. I thought those are some of my favorite tracks. What do you think, Sam?
Oh yeah, I do like them. I do have a small nitpick about it, like the end credits theme, is that it sounds like the end of a Pixar movie.
Oh yeah, I do quite enjoy it, but it is a little shocking.
I do like it for what it is. I think it's a great song, but is it a great final song for Sonic? Because it sounds like I think if that song played after a character would have died, I think it would have been perfect, you know what I mean? But it really does sound like the end of a Pixar film, but I do like it. I do like it for what it is.
Yeah,
that's just...
It was a surprisingly fun game, surprisingly fun song to listen to, despite it sounding like the end of a Disney movie. Which gameplay is best? This is LinkLad26. Which gameplay is best? Classic, Dreamcast, Modern, the good parts, or Modern Boost to Win? Modern... Wait a minute, what is Modern Good and Modern Boost to Win? As far as I know, those are the same thing.
Generations Boost. I would assume that's what he's talking about, but that's just me.
So, I don't understand these terms, and we don't have time to ask to figure it out. So for right now, I'm gonna divide it like Generations does for sake of simplicity for everyone watching. Let's do it like Generations does. Classic era as defined by Generation, Dreamcast era, which is an era in Generations.
Yes.
So up to Heroes from Sonic Adventure 1, and then Modern era, everything onward. I don't know the subdivisions in Modern. I know that last era is way bigger. But which one out of those three do you think is best for the sake of simplicity?
Yes. So I think for the Genesis era, I liked Sonic 2 because it's short and simplistic. I feel like Sonic 2 is a game I could sit back, relax, and enjoy, play real quick. And I grew up on it for nostalgic reasons, so I'm not gonna lie. I have a bias for Sonic 2.
3 is like a daunting experience for me. It's
Sonic
not.
3,
it's packed.
Yeah. Sonic 3 is just as good as Sonic 2, but I feel like Sonic 3 is a game where I want to get the good ending in that, so I have to work for it. So I can't just sit back and relax for that. I want to get into the gameplay and really play that game, because that game does take a while to get 100% on.
Just
so
I'm gonna like we're gonna like play catch with this one. Yeah, because I agree with you, so I'll just tack on so I don't have to waste time. I agree with the Sonic 2. If I was talking to a hardcore gamer, somebody who spends way more time gaming, I would recommend Sonic 3 and Knuckles right away. But if there was somebody that was like me that I was meeting that didn't know about classic Sonic, I would recommend Sonic 2, because I think overall that's gonna catch the largest consumer base. I think it was the perfect balance of a full experience. There's enough there to go back and play, but also like streamlined in the sense that it's easy to jump right in and to get as far as you can, and you get a lot of continues. You can do a playthrough of it and not dedicate like an entire, like a overbearing portion of your weekend for the average skill set for a person. Anyway, moving on to Dreamcast, back to Sam.
Dreamcast, I would say Heroes. I loved Heroes. I think a lot of people have the problem with Heroes that it is slippery. I will say, yes, the Heroes is slippery, but I think the level design doesn't punish you too much for it. The slippery level design, I do like it, except for some levels here and there, but I do like it. I think Heroes is a classic Sonic game brought to 3D. Aesthetically, it's beautiful. The soundtrack in that game is honestly some of the best in the entire series. I absolutely adore that game. And something I want to say is, some people might say Heroes is kind of like is a daunting task because you have to play the same quote unquote the same story 4 times or 3 times if you don't really count chaotics. But I will say that Heroes is a game I like to sit down and try to complete over the course of like a week. Like, I don't like to, if you want to play it in one sitting, yes, it will feel really repetitive going to the same levels, only to play at different lengths when you play the same characters. I think Heroes is a game you want to work for over the course of a couple days, so it doesn't feel too repetitive. So yes, I would say Heroes for over adventure games. That's just, I think, mainly nostalgic reasons. Adventure games are perfectly fine in their own right, but I prefer Heroes.
So for Dreamcast era, for me, I'd have to say SA1. It's so funny because it's going to be a stark contrast to what I said about the classic era gameplay. So for me, when my opinion changed recently, because Sonic Adventure 2 used to be the Sonic 2 of the Dreamcast era, where it was a little bit more streamlined of an experience. So overall, I would recommend it to someone more casual, where I'd recommend someone a little bit more that's more hardcore. I'd recommend them SA1 maybe. Not as much as I would recommend Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I'd be a little bit more hesitant to recommend Sonic Adventure 1, but my opinions has since changed after talking to Lords. Lords' favorite game is SA1, and we talked about how she had a very unique experience playing that game, where she didn't do what I typically see people do when they do playthroughs, is they'll play through Sonic's story 100% and then move on to the next character. Sorry, I feel like oh, she's just walked behind the backdrop. I thought she was like gonna like peek in from the corner and be like, "What are you saying about me?" Voice cracked. I'm 25, still going through puberty. Anyway, but she played a little bit of Sonic. Then when she got stuck as a kid, she'd move on to another story, chip away at that one, and go back and forth. And when I think about it, I feel like that's how the game was meant to be played, considering that they made the choice in SA2 to force you to switch between the characters, so that because it does actually feel better to touch on each gameplay style. You get to feel like, I don't know, it's like you're eating a meal and you're having too much of the meat, so you have some of the salad, and back and forth. It feels like a very diverse experience, and it feels more balanced out, and playing SA1 like that is my favorite in the Dreamcast era, for sure. But Heroes does that really interestingly. When you think about it, SA1 to SA2 to Heroes is kind of like them slowly mixing in all their mechanics together. They're very separated in Sonic Adventure, mixed in a little bit better in Sonic Adventure 2, then really, really beautifully mixed up in Heroes. The only problem for me, the reason I don't choose Heroes, and I haven't even touched on it, was because the controls were a little, like, it was a little bit jarring for me, because I had already been following the series, so I had already learned the adventure mechanics, and so Heroes, I was like, whoa, what happened? What's going on? I don't understand. And it just felt a little strange. Yeah, this one, Yes, Matt, this stream's been going on for very long. We're actually on the last
Matt.
question, and we're on the last
having a
portion
good
of the
time,
last
Matt.
question. We have to choose our favorite modern game, so everything from Heroes on, which is a big chunk. So, Sam, what do you think?
Man, I'm gonna be a bit of a basic bleep here, but I would say Generations.
I mean, I'd agree with you. I mean,
yeah, it's just the gameplay of it was tight. They expanded on it's the Sonic 2 of the Genesis era. They expanded on the gameplay. They made level design around such gameplay. Yes, they revisited areas, but it was it wasn't jarring at the time. At the time of its release, it wasn't jarring to return to areas like that the way they have. It was a celebration of the past, and it was perfectly acceptable for them to do so. So I loved Heroes, great soundtrack. I loved the things returning in that game. And yeah, it was a tight game. Classic Sonic controlled pretty well too, except I know he had a really overpowered spin dash, but I liked that. Punch spin dash on the X button was unique, and I liked that too. And it kind of reminded me of the adventure spin dash. And, you know, I liked it. It was a tight game, designed well, looked pretty. It was made with polish, minus the story. I know the story was a little wonky, but still good.
So this is obviously the hardest one to choose, and Generations, I would to put people's uncertainty of what my answer is to bed really early. I'm probably gonna say Generations. As I'm thinking out loud, I'm trying to put together my answer because it's very hard. Because I really, despite what my facial expressions led you to believe, I do also really, really enjoy Colors. I think there are bad 2D levels in there, but there's not very many. Each level introduces like a really fun mechanic, and if it doesn't, there's a new wisp to use there. Yes, most of the wisps are used in 2D, but for me, it's what makes the 2D parts fun. And then every time, right when I start thinking, oh, like I'm bored of using the wisps, it goes to 3D. And I feel like it uses the wisps really good in 2D. I like the wisps being there. I have no problem. I feel like they've never been done as well as they were done in Colors. So every game that used them after, I wasn't really fond of their implementation. Probably best implementation was Forces after Colors, so that's kind of something to be happy about. I do like the wisp on mechanic. In fact, it's the game's biggest saving grace, I think, is the wisps in that game. So the hate on wisps doesn't make sense to me. But Generations, I still think it takes the cake. It's got the classic gameplay. It's got the iconic bosses. It's got the easy to pick up controls. It's got all your favorite moments. It's hard not to gravitate towards that. Mania, of course, came out in this portion, and Mania gave me an unrivaled classic Sonic experience, and that was unparalleled. Man, I don't know. The very fact that I have a hard time choosing my favorite modern game is a testament to how I feel about Sonic currently, which is not in line with everybody that's leaving Sonic YouTubing just because the going gets tough for like an era. Okay, well, I was sticking around in 06 and Shadow the Hedgehog, so I'll see you guys when you come running back when you're bored and have nothing else to talk about. I'll check you out on the flip side. But if you're just gonna like turn tail and run because the going gets tough, then all right, go play your other games and that's fine. But I mean, I'm interested in the brand. It's too late for me. I'm 25 years old. So
hey, I'm 21. I'm not that far off, man.
It's too late for us. So yeah, we're on the sinking ship, but we're gonna go with pride. We're gonna play those violins until we can't play them anymore.
Captain goes down with the ship.
So I gotta go to bed because it's nearly 11. Even Matt's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Wait, stop streaming."
Matt is a person that cares about our health, and we will abide by those.
Sorry, I had so much fun talking to you, Sam.
Don't apologize. I had a blast, man.
I had so much fun. Hadron, thank you so much for the $5 donation. Great stream, y'all, even with the lack of Green Hill Zone. Was there any Green Hill Zone in this stream? What was I playing? Oh, yeah, I was. You know what? Sonic Colors doesn't have Green Hill Zone. That's just one more reason why it's the best video game ever.
Sonic, I ignore everything we said up to this point. Sonic Colors, best video game.
Well, I mean, I had fun playing it, so you know what? My opinion is unchanged. So, yeah. So make sure to let us know in the comments if you're watching the archive what kind of things you'd like to see us stream Also, something I wanted to touch on, just business related when it comes to Tales channel. Hold on, Sam, we'll do our outros in a sec. But we did a poll recently on our community tab on YouTube, and we asked you guys what kind of content you enjoy besides news. And I was interested just to really make sure that conversation really reaches to all of our viewers. How do you guys feel about us starting reviews of Sonic games on the channel? I really want to make sure, I want to gauge interest on everybody. How do you guys feel about us starting to do game reviews? Of course, upon release, we would plan to do a review shortly after the release of said game, but we also would like to go back and do reviews of other games. Or, if you don't want to do that, make sure to let us know. Because, of course, there are times where Sonic News is not around, and we would be saving it for those opportunities. There are Sonic News droughts. Channels suffer. We need to make stuff, and I feel in my heart that we can add something to the Sonic review conversation. So, if you guys would like to see that from us, let us know. But anyway, I've had a fantastic night with you, Sam. It's been a lot of fun playing Sonic Colors and just hanging out with you. Wow, I feel like we haven't stopped talking for like 3 hours straight, and that's probably the truth.
We have not.
It was
fun, man.
It was fantastic talking to you. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with me, and thank you guys all for hanging out with us. This was amazing.
And thank you again for inviting me to the stream. It was an honor again to meet you.
No problem. Anytime.
I've been, again, like I said before, I've watched you when I was just in middle school. So, you know, it's so crazy to talk to know I'm talking to Mardiculous. So it's great. So again, thank you again. You made my day. I know that for sure.
Thank you so much for sticking with me through all my cringy content, and I'm happy that you're still sticking around. I apologize for all my cringy content. I'm glad you're still around. Thanks so much. Anyway, I hope everybody has a great night, and I'll see you guys next week, Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know what I'm doing yet, so follow us on Twitter for more updates on that. And if you want to talk to all the other members of Tales Channel and other viewers, you can join our Discord. Link is in the description. That's all for now. Bye. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Oh, it's the Sage outro. Okay, whatever. Bye.